Hier, yesterday. Aujourd'hui, today. Demain, tomorrow. Okay? Hier, yesterday. Aujourd'hui, today. Demain, tomorrow. So let's see now. Hier, so yesterday. Hier matin. Matin is morning. Okay, so yesterday morning will go in French like hier matin. Hier matin. Okay? Après-midi means afternoon. Hier après-midi. Yesterday afternoon. Hier après-midi. Hier après-midi. Alright? And then soir, evening. Hier soir. Hier soir. Okay, so let's repeat that. Hier. Hier matin. Hier après-midi. Hier soir. Okay? So now, aujourd'hui. Today. Aujourd'hui. Ce matin. So we put here this ce. This matin. Morning. This morning. Ce matin. Cet après-midi. This afternoon. Cet après-midi. Cet après-midi. Ce soir. So soir, evening, this evening. Ce soir. Ce soir. Alright? And then, demain, so tomorrow. Demain matin, tomorrow morning. Demain matin. Demain après-midi, tomorrow afternoon. Demain après-midi. Demain soir. Demain soir. Tomorrow evening. Demain soir. So one more time. Hier. Hier matin. Hier après-midi. Hier soir. Aujourd'hui. Ce matin. Cet après-midi. Ce soir. Demain. Demain matin. Demain après-midi. Demain soir. 50, de 50 à 75, till 75, de 50 à 75. So let's see how they go. 50, 50, 51, 51, 52, 52, 53, 53, 54, 54, 55, 55, 56, 56, 57, 57, 58, 58, 59, 59, 60, 60, 61, 61, 62, 62, 63, 63, 64, 64, 65, 65, 66, 66, 67, 67, 68, 68, 69, 69. And that's normally when my students, when I'm in class with them, start to look at me like they would like to kill me, because now we're getting to the tricky point in French, okay? So have a look here. Now we've got this 70, of course, but then in French it's a bit more tricky, because you take back the 60, and then you will add the 10, okay? So for this 70 session here, you will have to use this 60 and then 10, and so all the numbers from 10 to 19, you will have to put them right here after. Okay, so let's see how it goes. 70, 70, 71, 71. Okay, so you can see here now. 60, 60, and then 11, 11. 71. 72, 72. Same thing here. 60 and then 12. Okay. 73, 73. 74, 74. 75, 75. Okay, so we won't go further, not to be more traumatized, because I've got some nice surprises after that as well. Okay, so remember that well, till 70, well, it's quite not easy, because it's always difficult to remember the numbers, but still it's not that tricky. Okay, so remember that for 70 here, so from 70 to 79, you will have to use this 60, so 60, and then the numbers from 10 to 19, okay? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, etc. So we'll see the rest in a coming lesson. So now what we'll do, we'll go to till 100, and then we'll see all the what tricky and irregular forms, okay? So if you remember, when we stopped, it was here, okay? So 75. In French, we'll have to use this 60, so 60, okay? And then after that, you will have to put this 15, okay? So remember, from 70 to 79, it will work the same way. So you will have to put this 60, and then the numbers from 10 to 19 after. Sorry, yeah, 19, yes. Okay, so in that case it's 75, 75, okay, 60, and then 15, okay. Next one, 76, okay, so 60 and 16, okay, 76, all right. 77, 77. 78, 78, 79, 79, and then 80. Okay, so for 80 it's 80, 80, all right. 81, 81, 82, 82, 83, 83, 84, 84, 85, 85, 86, 86, 87, 87, 88, 88, 89, 89. And now for 90, well, basically it would be the same thing as we had for 70. So you will take this 80, 80, and then you will add the numbers from 10 to 19 after. So 90, and then 91, so 91, so remember 80, 80, and then 11, 11, 91, 92, 92, 93, 93, 94, 94, 95, 95, 96, 96, 97, 97, 98, 98, 99, 99, and the last one, 100. Remember, final T not pronounced. 100. Okay? Discover this parce que form. So parce que means because. Okay, and it's really useful. So we'll see how to use it. Okay, so parce que here. So the first use of parce que is when you want to introduce the reason. Okay, so we've got two examples here. Il ne mange pas tout de suite. Okay, so here you've got the negative form, remember, ne, and then pas. Manger means to eat. Il ne mange pas, so he doesn't eat. Tout de suite, well, basically it means right now. Parce qu'il, okay, préfère attendre. So in that case, because he prefers to wait. Il préfère attendre. Okay? Préférer, to prefer. And then here you can see that attendre is to wait. Second verb, okay? And then you should put it like here at the infinitive form, so the basic form of the verb, okay? Il ne mange pas tout de suite parce qu'il préfère attendre. Okay? Second example, nous allons dehors. Aller is to go, dehors, outside. Nous allons dehors, so we go outside. Parce que, so because. Nous voulons marcher. Vouloir, to want. Marcher, to walk. Nous voulons marcher, we want to walk. Okay? Nous allons dehors parce que nous voulons marcher. Okay? And then the second option to use this parce que is when you want to introduce the cause, la cause. Okay? Example here. Il prend son parapluie. Parapluie, umbrella. Prendre is to take. Il prend son, his. So he's taking his umbrella. Il prend son parapluie parce qu'il pleut. Pleuvoir, to rain. It rains, il pleut. Il prend son parapluie parce qu'il pleut. Okay? And then, second example. Il appelle le garagiste parce que sa voiture ne démarre pas. Okay, a place to call. Garagiste is this nice person that will fix your car if it's broken or if it doesn't start, like in this example. Okay. Parce que sa voiture, voiture is car, sa voiture, possessive, his car, and then ne pas, so you get the negative form here, and démarrer is to start. Il appelle le garagiste parce que sa voiture ne démarre pas. So because his car doesn't start. Okay? Il appelle le garagiste parce que sa voiture ne démarre pas. Alright? So you can see the two main way of using this parce que. So the first one, the reason. In that case, well, it's something that refers to the person. Okay? Actually, in that case, he doesn't eat because he prefers to wait, and then we go outside because we want. Okay? And then the second possibility, when you talking about la cause, in that case, something that doesn't really, it's not the results of what someone is doing, but it's raining in that case, and then the car doesn't start. It doesn't really, it's not the result of the action of someone. Okay, so that's the two main use of parce que. Then we'll work on le Moyen-Orient, the Middle East. Okay, let's start. Le Moyen-Orient. So it's interesting here because normally if you would have only this word here, you would pronounce it moyen, moyen. Okay, but then as you've got this vowel after, okay, you get to make the liaison between the two. Le Moyen-Orient, Moyen-Orient. Okay, let's start now. Israël, Israël. La Palestine, la Palestine. Le Liban, le Liban. La Jordanie, la Jordanie. Okay, so let's repeat them one more time. Le Moyen-Orient, Israël, la Palestine, le Liban, la Jordanie. Okay, and now we'll see the nationalities. Okay, so Israel, and then I will put the masculine form here and the feminine form here. Israélien, Israélien, so masculine form, and then feminine form. Israélienne, Israélienne, okay, yen, yen, okay, and then Palestinien, Palestinien, feminine form, Palestinienne, Palestinienne. Le Liban, Libanais, Libanais, Libanaise, okay, aise, Libanais, Libanaise. And then Jordanie, Jordanien, Jordanienne, okay, yen, Jordanien, Jordanienne. Okay, so let's see them one more time. Israël, Israélien, Israélienne. La Palestine, Palestinien, Palestinienne. Le Liban, Libanais, Libanaise. La Jordanie, Jordanien, Jordanienne. L'extrême-orient, so Far East, l'extrême-orient, so let's discover that together. So Far East in French we'll say l'extrême-orient, l'extrême-orient. Le Japon, le Japon. La Chine, la Chine, la Chine. L'Inde, so remember you get this nasal here form, IN1, l'Inde, l'Inde, le Pakistan, le Pakistan, Hong Kong, Hong Kong. Okay, so let's see everything one more time here. L'Extrême-Orient, le Japon, la Chine, l'Inde, le Pakistan, Hong Kong. Okay, and now for the nationalities, so each time I will put the masculine form and the feminine form. Okay, le Japon, japonais, japonaise. Okay, so the only difference is there, est. Japonais, japonaise. La Chine, chinois, so it's really this wa sound, remember? Chinois, chinoise, z, was, chinoise. So chinois, chinoise. L'Inde, indien, indien, indienne. So remember this double N, you open it, indienne. Le Pakistan, pakistanais, pakistanaise. Hong Kong, chinois de Hong Kong, chinoise de Hong Kong. So let's see them one more time. Le Japon, japonais, japonaise. La Chine, chinois, chinoise. L'Inde, indien, indienne. Le Pakistan, pakistanais, pakistanaise. Hong Kong, chinois de Hong Kong, chinoise de Hong Kong. Le verbe pronominal. So, what is le verbe pronominal? So first we'll take an example. Regarder, to look, to watch. Okay? And then se regarder. In that case it would be to look at oneself. Okay? So that's the important thing about this verb pronominal. Le verb pronominal will be constructed all the time with this se before the verb. Se regarder, okay? And this se will basically change the meaning of the verb because regarder, to look, to watch, se regarder, to look at oneself, okay? So we'll take an example. So if we take the regarder verb, okay? So normally you will construct this sentence, je regarde la télévision, okay? I watch the television. Je regarde la télévision, okay? But then, if you use this se regarder, so as I said, to look at oneself, in that case, je me regarde. Alright, so you will have to add this me thing here before the verb. Je me regarde. Okay, so let's see how we will conjugate this verb at the present form. Je me regarde. Tu te regardes. Il se regarde. Elle se regarde. Nous nous regardons. Vous vous regardez. Il se regarde. Elle se regarde. So now you can see that you've got to add this me, te, se, nous, vous, se before the verb when you conjugate it. Okay? Let's take another example. Appeler, to call. Okay, and then the important thing in that case is that, as usual, you know, appeler is starting with a vowel, a here, and it does mean that, as usual in French, normally we should have this se, but then e will disappear and it will look like that, s'appeler. So appeler, to call, and then s'appeler, to call oneself. Okay, so let's see how we will conjugate this verb. Je m'appelle. So same thing here, the e that we had previously disappeared. Je m'appelle. So remember, that's normally the verb that you use when you introduce yourself, like I call myself, so my name is, of course, but then in French it's like I call myself. Okay, je m'appelle. Tu t'appelles. Tu t'appelles. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. Nous nous appelons. Okay, so I will make the liaison. Nous nous appelons. Vous vous appelez. Il s'appelle. Elle s'appelle. Sorry. So if you look carefully here as well, so you will have to add this m, t, s, okay, and then nous, vous, s, okay. So remember, it's just because the verb is starting with a vowel. It would be the same if the verb would start with the letter h plus a vowel, because we don't pronounce h, so that's the reason why. My God, I'm losing my voice. Let's hope I will finish. Be careful, because in some cases when you will add this se in front of the verb, then le sens, so the meaning of the verb, will change. So I will put a few examples here. Trouver is to find, okay, and then se trouver means to be, être. Okay, trouver, to find, but then se trouver is to be, être. Passer, to pass. Se passer, avoir lieu, so to take place. Se passer, to take place. Passer, to pass. Okay? And then mettre, to put. Se mettre, well, it's to start. Commencer, to start something. Okay? So remember, trouver, to find. Se trouver, être, so to be. Passer, to pass. Se passer, avoir lieu, to take place. Mettre, to put. Se mettre, commencer, to start something. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and we'll see together more precisely how to conjugate the verbs that will end with uire, uire. Okay, so let's start now. Uire, and the verbs I think that could represent this category is conduire. Conduire means to drive or conduct. Okay, and so let's see how you will conjugate this verb. Je conduis. Tu conduis. Il conduit. Elle conduit. So far it's not that difficult, okay, because I assume that most of you would have put this final S here, S and then T, okay, because it's in most of the cases the way we will conjugate the verbs of the third group. Not all the verbs, but most of them, okay, so that's the reason why you will get this form, je conduis, okay, so it's quite simple, tu conduis, and then il, elle conduit, okay, keep in mind that you pronounce them the same way, okay, so let's see how it will go for nous. And it's actually not that difficult, but then of course most of you maybe would like to see R here, okay, but then no, it's not the case because it will become S. Nous conduisons. Okay, and the good news is that it will stay for vous, vous conduisez, and then also for il, elle, ils conduisent, elles conduisent. Okay, so one more time. Je conduis, tu conduis, il conduit, elle conduit, nous conduisons, vous conduisez, ils conduisent, elles conduisent. Okay, so basically these verbs are not really tricky. They're not really difficult. The only thing that you get to remember is that this is S here, conduisons. Okay, because, well, I won't get into that, but if you would put this R here, it would be the future form. Okay, but then here, keep in mind that you get to put S here. Conduisons, and then conduisez, and here conduisent. So we'll see now the other verbs that will actually be conjugated like conduire. Construire, cuire, déduire, détruire, instruire, introduire, nuire, produire, reproduire, réduire, séduire, traduire, and few others. Okay, so let's see them one more time. Construire, cuire, déduire, détruire, instruire, introduire, nuire, produire, reproduire, réduire, séduire, traduire. And of course, you are expecting the translation. I know that. And this is the reason why you will get them. So, construire means construct, build. Cuire, cook. Déduire, deduct, deduce. Détruire, destroy. Instruire, educate, instruct. Introduire, introduce, insert. Nuire, harm, damage. Produire, produce, make. Reproduire, reproduce, copy. Réduire, reduce, decrease. Séduire, charm. Traduire, translate. Okay, so keep in mind that these verbs here will actually be conjugated like we saw a few minutes ago. Voilà. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and more precisely, we'll see the verbs that are ending with ER, okay, and remember they can be quite tricky, so that's the reason why we will take the time to have a look at them, okay. And so basically in that case, so the verbs ending with ER, we'll see three categories. The first one, it will be what we call les verbes à un radical, okay, so we'll see that a bit later, but radical is the stem, the root, okay. So actually these ones are quite easy to conjugate. The second group is les verbes à deux radicaux. So now it's getting a bit difficult because it will mean that these verbs will have actually two stems or roots, if you want. So we'll see that. Don't worry. And then this third group, oh, it's a strange one here. But then actually we're talking about les verbes à trois radicaux. So in that case, we will see that, well, they are the most tricky one. But then don't worry, we'll manage to understand how it works. Okay, so let's see now, and we'll start with the easy thing, and it's better, and it's les verbes à un radical. So the verbs ending with er, and in that case, I thought it might be interesting to take the verb ouvrir. Ouvrir is to open, okay, so it's quite useful. And so the idea is that this final er will be taken away to get the stem, the root. And so after that you will get j'ouvre, tu ouvres, il ouvre, elle ouvre, nous ouvrons, vous ouvrez, ils ouvrent, elles ouvrent. Okay, so it's clear that we've got this verb ouvrir. Okay, so ouvrir is the ending with er. And as I told you here, you should take this er away. Okay, so you'll get the form ouvr, and then after that you will add, so the endings, e for je, so that's the reason why you get j'ouvre. For tu, you will add es, and that's the reason why you will get tu ouvres. For il, elle, you will add e, ouvre. Okay, so basically you get the same phonetical form here. Okay, it's the same pronunciation, but you should write it ouvre, ouvre, es, ouvre, e. Okay, and then for nous, well, the classic ending, ons, ouvrons, nous ouvrons, and then for vous, classic ending ez, vous ouvrez, il, elle, classic ending ent, ils ouvrent, elles ouvrent. Okay, so it's actually not that difficult if you think about this little thing. So you should take this er away and just add these endings. Okay, so we'll see now few verbs that will actually be conjugated the same way ouvrir is, and it's couvrir, découvrir, cueillir, accueillir, recueillir, assaillir, souffrir, and a few others. Okay, but these are the main ones. Couvrir, découvrir, cueillir, accueillir, recueillir, assaillir, and then souffrir. I don't know why there is a little dot here, but then don't bother with this. And of course, as in most of the cases, I try to give you the translation, and here it goes. So couvrir means to cover or to wrap. Découvrir, to discover. Cueillir, gather, pick. Accueillir, welcome. Recueillir, collect, gather. Assaillir, assault, attack, and then souffrir, to suffer. Okay, so these verbs here will be conjugated the same way ouvrir is, and it's not that difficult. Okay, so now let's see the second group, so what we call les verbes à deux radicaux. And so we'll take partir. Partir is to leave. We use this verb quite often, okay? So basically it's quite important to see how to conjugate that at the present form. And so, as I said, the idea is that we will have two different roots, two different stems, okay? And the first one will be PAR for the singular form. So we're talking about je, tu, il and elle, so the singular form, okay? And then for the plural form, we will have part, okay? And we're talking about nous, vous, il, elle. So let's see how it will go, okay? So the first form will be je pars, okay? Remember, you put this S, you don't pronounce it. Je pars. Then you will get tu pars, il, elle, part. So the first thing that you get to keep in mind, you've got this final S, final T, but then you don't pronounce them. So phonetically, je pars, tu pars, il part, elle part. The same form. And then, if you think about what we saw, here we should have this first part here, and then the endings after. And that's the reason why we will get nous partons. Okay, so you've got this P-A-R-T, and then we put the ending O-N-S, the classic one. Vous partez, same way, and then obviously we'll have il part, elle part. Okay, so the first part P-A-R-T, and then the ending E-N-T. Okay, and this is the tricky thing with this verb partir. It's just to remember that when you get the singular or the plural, well, basically you will have different stems, okay? So the first one, keep in mind that you will have this PAR, and then you will add the ending S for je, S for tu, T for il, elle. Phonetically, je pars, tu pars, il part, elle part, okay? And for the plural, as we saw, you just keep this P-A-R-T and you add the endings O-N-S, E-Z, E-N-T. And you will get nous partons, vous partez, ils partent, elles partent. Alright? So, let's see now the verbs that will be conjugated like partir. Sortir, dormir, servir, sentir, mentir, se repentir, and few others. Okay, so sortir, dormir, servir, sentir, mentir, se repentir. And of course, you would like to have the translation. Sortir means to go out, dormir, sleep, servir, serve or be used for, sentir, smell, feel, mentir, lie, se repentir, express remorse. Okay, so keep in mind that these verbs will actually be conjugated like partir. Okay, and last but not least, don't be afraid. So now we've got the last group of verbs ending with er, and these verbs will belong to the group of verbes à trois radicaux. So obviously you understand now what I'm talking about, and we'll see how it goes. And in that case, well, basically the idea with venir, so I decided to take venir. Venir is to come. Same thing, it's a quite used verb, so that's the reason why I think it's important to see how it goes. And so the difficult thing with this group of verbs is actually you will have one form for the singular. So we're talking here about je, tu, il, elle. Okay, so in that case, the stem, the root will be vient, V-I-E-N. Okay, then we will have another root or stem for nous and vous at the plural form, and it will be V-E-N. Okay, so you can see that it's not the same. And last but not least, we'll have a third stem or root for il, elle at the plural form, and it will be viennent. And this is the tricky thing with venir, and we'll see the other verbs that will be conjugated like it. You've got three forms here. So vient for the singular, ven like that for the plural, but then it's only nous and vous, and then viennent for the plural, il, elle. So let's see how it goes. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient. Okay, so we do agree that we respect the rule, so you take this VEN and then you put it right here, and after that you will put the ending. Okay, then think about what we saw, nous and vous, so they're coming right now. We should use this VEN stem. So that's what we are going to do. Nous venons. Okay, so you put back this VEN, and after that you will put your ending ONS. Nous venons, then you will get vous venez. Okay, and the last one, remember here, for il, elle at the plural form, you will use this viennent here, and then you will add the ending ENT. Ils viennent, elles viennent. Okay, and so this is, well, normally what is difficult, trying to remember how to conjugate them, and especially keeping that fact in mind that for the singular you will put this VIEN, and then you will add S for je, S for tu, and T for il, elle. Okay, and phonetically it's the it's the same form. So you get je viens, okay, tu viens, il vient, elle vient. And then it was quite fast. But then for nous and vous, okay, you will put this VEN, all right, and you will add the ending ONS for nous, EZ for vous, okay, and you get nous venons, vous venez. And the last part, remember, well, basically for il, elle, you will put back this V-I-E-N, and you will put the ending ENT, and you'll get ils viennent, elles viennent. And it can be quite tricky, because if you think about that, especially phonetically, it's challenging in a way, because you get this nasal sound here, je viens, okay, viens, tu viens, well, the same, il vient, elle vient. Then you will get this venons, okay, keep in mind that it's really in that case, venons, venez, and the last one, because you've got this double N here, you need to pronounce this like and that's the reason why you should pronounce it viennent, viennent, okay? So, ils viennent, elles viennent. So, just one more time to make it clear. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent, elles viennent. And so let's see now the verbs that will actually be conjugated like venir, and we're talking about tenir, contenir, détenir, maintenir, obtenir, devenir, revenir, intervenir, se souvenir, and few others. Okay, so tenir, contenir, détenir, maintenir, obtenir, devenir, revenir, intervenir, se souvenir. So let's see now the translations. Tenir, hold, keep. Contenir, contain. Détenir, possess, have. Maintenir, keep, maintain. Obtenir, obtain, get. Devenir, become. Revenir, come back. Intervenir, intervene. Se souvenir, remember. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and more precisely, how to conjugate les verbes, the verbs that are ending with URE. Okay, so UR. And well, actually, even if it's, let's call it a micro group, I think it's quite important to just take the time to see how to conjugate these verbs. Okay, and so the example I wanted to use or to take is conclure, and basically it means to end, close, or conclude. Okay, so let's see how we will conjugate conclure. Je conclus, tu conclus, il conclut, elle conclut, nous concluons, vous concluez, il conclut, elle conclut. So as usual, let's say that the singular is not that difficult, because probably you would put that without knowing that it goes like that. S-S-T. Okay, so you get conclu, conclu, conclu. Okay, the same phonetical form here. The tricky thing in a way is for nous, vous, il, elle of the plural, because basically you don't put anything between this U and the ending. So you get this concluons, okay? So don't put any S or anything here. So it's not conclusion or conclurons or something like that. For the present form, it's concluons. Okay, concluez, and then here conclu. Okay, keep in mind that even if you put this final ENT, so the ending, you don't pronounce it. So phonetically, you get conclu. Conclu. Okay, so je conclus, tu conclus, il conclut, elle conclut, nous concluons, vous concluez, il conclut, elle conclut. And so when I say it's a micro group, it's just because you will see that we've got actually two verbs that will be conjugated like conclure. But you know, honestly, it's quite important to introduce them anyway because they are not that tricky to conjugate. And it's inclure and exclure. Okay, so inclure, exclure, and I'm pretty sure that you understand how or what they mean without the translations, but of course I will offer you the translation, and it's inclure means to include or incorporate, and then exclure, exclude or get rid of. Okay. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and more precisely, we'll see together how to conjugate at the present form the verbs ending with VRE, okay, vre. So let's see that together. And so the example I wanted to take is quite useful because it's vivre, and vivre means to live. And so the tricky thing that you've got to keep in mind with this group of verbs is that it will have actually two stems or two roots. So we'll see practically what it does mean, okay? But then keep in mind that for the singular form, so je, tu, and then il, elle, actually the stem or the root will be vi, okay? So basically you take away this vre ending. Okay, and then for the plural form, so it will be nous, vous, and then il, elle. The stem or the root will be v, v. Okay, so and that's the difficult thing because for the singular the stem will be vi, for the plural it will be v. Okay, so let's see now how it will go when we conjugate this verb. So you will get je vis, tu vis, il vit, elle vit. Okay, so we do agree that you take this root or this stem here, you put it right here, and after that you will put the ending. For je it will be s, for tu it will be s the same, and for il, elle it will be t. And so if we keep the logic as we saw now for the plural form, we will take VIV, and then after that we will add the ending, and the classic ending for nous is ONS. Nous vivons. Vous vivez. Ils vivent. Elles vivent. Okay, so if you have this thing quite clearly in mind that we've got two stems, so the first one for the singular is VI plus the endings, and then for the plural it will be VIV plus the ending, then you will master this verb and the other verbs that will actually be conjugated like it. Okay, so let's see now the endings. Remember, for je it's S, for tu S, and for il T. So this is the reason why we get je vis, tu vis, il vit, elle vit. Okay, and then for nous the ending is ONS, so you get nous vivons, then EZ, vous vivez, and after that ENT, ils vivent, elles vivent. Alright, so let's see now what verbs are actually conjugated like vivre. And we've got suivre, poursuivre, revivre, survivre, and few others, but then these are the main ones. So, suivre, poursuivre, revivre, survivre. Okay, so let's see what they mean. Suivre, it's to follow. Poursuivre, pursue, chase. Revivre, relive, live through again. Survivre, survive. Okay, and these verbs will actually be conjugated like vivre that we saw a few minutes ago. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and we'll see more precisely in this video how to conjugate the verbs that are ending with this IRE thing. So ir, okay, and we'll see that basically they are quite tricky to conjugate. Okay, so let's start right now, and I thought that it would be more logical to put them, in two groups, and the first one is actually and logically IRE, and the second one we are talking about the verbs that will end with OIRE, war, or then AIRE, air. Alright, my advice for this video is actually to probably make a list on your own and try to learn them by heart, because it will be the only way to actually remember them. Okay, but then let's start with the first group, IRE. So the first verb that we'll see is lire, and lire means to read. Okay, so je lis, tu lis, il lit, elle lit, nous lisons, vous lisez, ils lisent, elles lisent. Alright, so je lis, tu lis, il lit. Okay, so same form here, phonetical form, but then it's S at the end, S and then T. Then you will get nous lisons, vous lisez, ils lisent. Okay, so this one honestly is not that tricky, so that's the reason why I wanted to start with this one. Let's see now the second one, and it's dire, and dire means to say. Je dis, tu dis, il dit, elle dit. Nous disons, vous dites, and now you can see the tricky thing here. So it's not vous disiez, okay, as many would think, but then it's vous dites, okay, final S not pronounced, vous dites. Ils disent, elles disent. Alright, so let's see that one more time. Je dis, tu dis, il dit, elle dit. So basically here it's not that difficult, because I'm pretty sure that most of you would actually, without knowing that, try to conjugate it and put these forms. Okay, so je dis, tu dis, il dit, elle dit. Then nous disons. So far it's actually quite logical, but this is the tricky thing here. Vous dites. Okay, so remember that, well, in most of the cases at the beginning you will say vous disiez, okay, and it's quite interesting because French kids normally when they start to learn the language they don't use this vous dites, but then they make this logical mistake, vous disiez, okay, but it's actually vous dites, and then ils, elles disent. Third verb is écrire. Écrire is to write. And then j'écris, tu écris, il écrit, elle écrit. Same thing here. It's really easy, okay? It's getting normally tricky at the plural form. Nous écrivons, and this is the strange thing here. You've got to put this V here. Écrivons, okay? But then you keep the logic, in a way. Vous écrivez, okay, so V is coming here as well, and it will be here for the plural form as well, okay? Ils écrivent, elles écrivent. Alright, so j'écris, tu écris, il écrit, elle écrit, nous écrivons, vous écrivez, ils écrivent, elles écrivent. So keep in mind that for écrire, actually, the tricky thing will be to put this V for the plural form. Rire, and it's to laugh. Je ris, tu ris, il rit, elle rit, nous rions, and this is a tricky thing, nothing between I and O, rions, vous riez, il rit, elle rit. And keep in mind that here at the end, okay, you've got this E and T, but if you remember, because I've been talking about that quite many times, you don't pronounce this final E and T, and so phonetically you get the sound ri, okay, exactly like you have here, ri, 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 okay, so and then here, rions, riez, okay, so you get je ris, tu ris, il rit, elle rit, nous rions, vous riez, il rit, elle rit. So now comes the second subgroup, okay? We're talking about the verbs ending with war or er. And so for the first verb, I decided to take plaire, and plaire is to please. Je plais, tu plais, il plaît, elle plaît. Have a look here. Accent circonflexe for il and elle, but not for tu and not for je. Okay? Nous plaisons, vous plaisez, il plaise, elle plaise. And that's normally the tricky thing, because in many situations persons or students will put er here because they are logic, and in a way French language can be quite strange, so basically you will have to put s here, but then the good news is that it's coming also for vous and then for il, elle. Okay, so this is the tricky thing here. But then je plais, tu plais, il plaît, elle plaît, well, this circonflexe also. Nous plaisons, vous plaisez, il plaise, elle plaise. Faire is quite useful, and we use this verb quite often in French because it means to do. Okay, so let's see how we will conjugate it. Je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils font, elles font. Okay, so this one is a tricky one. Well, basically, if you think about je, tu, il and elle, well, this is not really tricky, and this is quite easy to make because phonetically it's fait, fait, fait. And then for the endings, it's quite logical, s, s, t, like we have normally for the third group, okay? Now, nous is actually quite strange because even if, of course, you put this s here, and in a way it's a surprise, but then the most difficult thing that you should keep in mind is the way you will pronounce it, because you don't pronounce it e as normally you should, but you will pronounce it like e. Nous faisons. Okay, it's really fe, fe, fe. Nous faisons. Okay, you see it with e, but then you pronounce it fe. Nous faisons. So this is the first difficulty, and the second one is here, because if you look, it's a bit like we had for dire previously. Actually, you don't have this faisait. If you would be logical, it would go like that, but then it's fait. Okay, so keep in mind these two things are actually quite tricky. The first one here for pronunciation, nous faisons, and the second one here because you write it like that and it's not vous faisiez but vous faites. Okay, and then ils font, elles font. So just for one more time, je fais, tu fais, il fait, elle fait. Nous faisons, vous faites, ils font, elles font. Okay, this one is important because we use it quite often in French. We've got many expressions that are combined or constructed with faire. Okay, so keep in mind that it goes like that: faisons and then faites. Croire. Croire is to believe, and it's quite useful as well. So, je crois, tu crois, il croit, elle croit, and now you've got this Y here, and the sound goes like nous croyons, okay, croyons. Vous croyez, and last but not least, look, il croit, elle croit. And phonetically here, as we saw, ent is not pronounced, so you get the sound croix, exactly the same sound as we've got here, croix, croix, and then croix. Okay, so one more time. Je crois, tu crois, il croit, elle croit, nous croyons, vous croyez, il croit, elle croit. Okay, so keep in mind that here, when you get this Y and two vowels, one before, one after, it will be like y. So you combine it with O first, you will get croyons, croyons. And here, croyez, croyez. Okay? Boire, and boire is to drink, so it's quite useful. You do that every day, or then at least you should. Je bois, tu bois, il boit, elle boit. And this is the tricky one. Nous buvons, vous buvez, ils boivent, elles boivent. Okay, so same thing here. If you look carefully, you've got, well, three different stems. So bois here, so it will be actually quite easy at the singular. So je bois, tu bois, il boit. Okay. Then for nous and vous, you've got this stem. So buv, then you put the ending. Buvons, then buvez. And for il, elle, we've got a third stem or root, and it's boiv. And you put the ending, ent. Okay, so you get je bois, tu bois, il boit, elle boit, nous buvons, vous buvez, ils boivent, elles boivent. Les verbes du troisième groupe, and more precisely, we'll see together how to conjugate the verbs that are ending with dre and indre at the present form, because they can be quite tricky. Okay, so let's start. So the first group, I thought it might be interesting to take a quite common verb, attendre. And attendre means to wait. Okay, so attendre. And for the second group, so the indre group, we'll see the verb craindre. Craindre is to fear. Okay, so attendre and then craindre. Okay, but then let's start with attendre. So basically you've got your ending dre. Okay, so the verb is attendre, and the thing that you get to keep in mind is that in that case you will take re away. Okay, so you will get j'attends, and then for tu it will be tu attends. For il, elle, il attend. For nous, nous attendons. Vous attendez. Ils attendent. Elles attendent. Okay, so if you look carefully, basically you can see that the infinitive form is attendre. Okay, and as I told you, then you take this re away. Okay, so you will get this form attend. And after that, you will basically add the endings. So for je, it will be S, okay, and that's the reason why you've got this attend like that, so D, and then you just add this S. For tu, it will be also S, okay, same form. Then for il, elle, don't put anything. Okay, so that's the reason why you've got the basic form. Then for nous, the classic ending, ONS, okay. For vous, you will have EZ, okay, so that's the reason why you get this attendez form. And for il, elle, you will get ENT. Okay, so that's the way that, well, these verbs ending with dre will be conjugated. Okay, so you get j'attends, tu attends, il attend, elle attend, nous attendons, vous attendez, ils attendent, elles attendent. All right? And, well, if you think about the verb attendre in that case, let's see the verbs that will be conjugated like attendre. Okay, so répondre, for instance, confondre, descendre, défendre, entendre, perdre, prétendre, rendre, répandre, tendre, vendre, and other verbs as well. Okay, but I cannot make the full list. Okay, so these verbs will be conjugated like attendre. Okay, but then I'm pretty sure that well, you are expecting some translations here. Okay, so that's the reason why they are coming now. So répondre, it's to answer. Okay, confondre, to get mixed up, descendre, to go down, défendre, defend, entendre, to hear, perdre, to lose, prétendre, to claim, rendre, to give back, répandre, to spread, tendre, to stretch, and then vendre, to sell. Okay, so these verbs will actually be conjugated just like attendre was conjugated a few minutes ago. Okay, so répondre, confondre, descendre, défendre, entendre, perdre, prétendre, rendre, répandre, tendre, and then vendre. Okay, but as you know, like almost all the time in French, we've got some exceptions. Okay, and of course, the verb prendre, and it's quite used because it means to take, is an exception. Okay, so even if it's ending with DRE, well, basically it won't behave like attendre that we saw previously. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So DRE, prendre, you've got to remember that the forms will go like that. Je prends, tu prends, il, elle prend, nous prenons, and here you can see the difference. Vous prenez, and the last one is quite tricky because it's ils, elles prennent. Okay, so basically you double the N here, and it will give you well, different sound here because you get to open the sound, so it's prêt, prennent. Okay, so let's see that one more time. Je prends, tu prends, il prend, elle prend. So if we look carefully, actually we've got, I mean, these forms are pronounced the same, okay? Then we've got nous prenons, okay? Keep in mind that you should pronounce it prenons. Vous prenez, and then the last one, the tricky one, ils prennent, okay? Ils prennent, all right? So basically, remember that prenons, prenez, and then prennent will be different as, well, the forms that we had for attendre, for instance. Okay, and well, when we speak about prendre, actually we've got the verbs apprendre, comprendre, entreprendre, reprendre, surprendre, and few others. And these verbs will actually be conjugated as prendre. All right, so let's see what they mean. Apprendre means to learn, comprendre, understand, entreprendre, begin doing something, reprendre, to take again or to take back, and then surprendre, surprise. Okay, so keep in mind that these verbs will actually be conjugated like prendre. All right, and so now let's see the second main category that we had, and it's indre, and the verb, the example that we will take is craindre, and craindre means to fear.
Je crains, tu crains, il craint, elle craint, nous craignons, vous craignez, ils craignent, elles craignent. Okay, so you can see that for nous, vous, and then il, elle at the plural form, it is quite tricky because you've got this gn coming right here, and then the sound is craignons. Okay, you get the ñ sound. Okay, craignons, craignez, craignent. Okay, but then if you remember to put it here, so the good news they say is that it will come for nous, it will come for vous, and then it will come for il, elle at the plural form. So je crains, tu crains, il craint, elle craint, nous craignons, vous craignez, ils craignent, elles craignent. Alright, so keep in mind that ending will be S, S, and then T. Okay, but then phonetically, as you know, you pronounce them the same. Craint, craint, craint. Okay? Then ONS, craignons, craignez, EZ, and then craigne, ENT. And of course, we'll see few verbs that will be conjugated like craindre, and they are atteindre, contraindre, éteindre, joindre, peindre, plaindre, teindre, and few others. Okay, so atteindre, contraindre, éteindre, joindre, peindre, plaindre, teindre. And so let's see what they mean. Atteindre, it's to reach. Contraindre, force, constrain. Éteindre, turn off. Joindre, join, combine. Peindre, paint. Plaindre, pity, complain. And then teindre, die. Okay? And so keep in mind that these verbs will be actually conjugated the same way as craindre is conjugated. Alright? Les verbes du troisième groupe, and more precisely we'll see together how to conjugate at the present form the verbs that will end with TRE, tre. Okay, so we can start right now. And I thought it might be more logical or easier to divide them in two groups. Okay, the first one would be verbs ending with TRE, so it's not a big surprise. But the second one, and I thought that maybe we should put them in a special group, so the verbs ending with être and voitre. Okay, so AI, accent circonflexe, TRE, être, voitre, OI, accent circonflexe, TRE. Okay, so because basically they will behave a bit differently. So let's start now with the first one, so the verbs ending with TRE. And for this group, I thought it might be interesting to use a quite useful verb, mettre. Mettre is to put. Okay, and so the concept is that you will have for the singular form one stem or one root, okay, and it will be M-E-T. And for the plural, you will have actually another stem, another root, and it will be M-E-T-T, T-T. And this is the tricky thing if we're talking about these verbs. Okay, so let's see how it will go. So, je mets. So you can see that now, as we saw, you put back this M-E-T, so the root, M-E-T, and then you add here the ending, S. Tu mets, il met, elle met. Okay? So then now, if we think about that, we should, for the plural form, put back this M-E-T-T, and after that we will put the ending. And this is the reason why we'll get nous mettons. So you can see that we put back METT, and then the ending ONS. Nous mettons. Then vous mettez, so in the same way, we keep this first part, so the root or the stem, plus the ending. And then finally, ils mettent, elles mettent, exactly the same thing. And this is basically the difficult thing when we're talking about this group of verbs, okay? Just to remember that for the singular form you will have to use this stem here, and then for the plural you will have to use another stem. Then the endings will be S for je, so you will get je mets, S for tu, tu mets, nothing for il, elle, so that's the reason why we have this MET. Keep in mind that phonetically you pronounce them the same here. Mais, okay? Then for nous, you will put the ending ONS, but then keep in mind that the stem is different, METT. For vous, EZ, same thing, same stem here, and then ENT for il and elle. Okay, so now let's see few verbs that will be conjugated like mettre, and we're talking about admettre, commettre, compromettre, permettre, soumettre, transmettre, battre, abattre, combattre, débattre, and few others. Admettre, and it means admit, confess. Commettre, commit. Compromettre, compromise. Sorry, this is my French pronunciation here. Compromise would be more appropriate. Then permettre, allow, permit. Soumettre, submit, subdue. Transmettre, pass, transmit. Battre, beat, defeat. Abattre, knock down. Combattre, combat, fight. And then débattre, discuss, debate. Okay, so keep in mind that these verbs here will be actually conjugated the same way as mettre. So as we saw, we've got a second group here in this video, and it's actually concerning the verbs ending with être and voitre. And for this group, I thought it might be interesting to have this verb connaître. Connaître is to know, okay, and we use that quite often, okay. And basically, we will have the same kind of situation, meaning for the singular form, we'll have one stem, one root, and it will be connaît, like that. And for the plural form, we will have a different stem or root, so connaissent. Okay, so connaît and then connaissent. And that's the reason why we'll get the following forms. Je connais, tu connais, il connaît, elle connaît. And keep in mind that it's a strange thing. I know, but you should put here this accent circonflexe. You don't pronounce it, I know that. But then if you want to write correctly, you should put it here, okay? It doesn't come for je, it doesn't come for tu, but then it will come here for il and elle. It's strange, I know, but still that's the way it should be done. For the plural form, keep in mind that we've got our stem here, our root connaissent, okay, so we should put it back here and then add the ending ONS. Nous connaissons, vous connaissez, ils connaissent, elles connaissent. Alright, so one more time, you just put for the singular this stem here, and then for je you will add S, for tu you will add S, for il you will add T. And that's the reason why you will get je connais, tu connais, il connaît, elle connaît. And then keep in mind this little circumflex thing here. But then for the plural form, we've got a different stem, connaissent, and then the endings will be the same, ONS as usual, EZ and ENT, so you will get the forms nous connaissons, vous connaissez, ils connaissent, elles connaissent. Alright? So it's actually a bit difficult probably at the beginning, but once you have the idea that actually you get two different stems for the singular and for the plural, then it's actually quite easy. Regarding the circumflex thing, well, it's up to you if you want to write it or not, but you should put it, of course. Let's see now together the verbs that will actually be conjugated like connaître. And they are accroître, croître, paraître, apparaître, disparaître, naître, renaître, reconnaître, comparaître, and few others. So regarding the translation now, accroître, it's to increase, croître, grow, paraître, appear, seem, apparaître, come into being, disparaître, disappear, naître, be born, renaître, rise, be reborn, reconnaître, recognize, comparaître, appear before. Okay, and these verbs will actually be conjugated like connaître.
Le futur proche, so basically if you want to translate it directly, it would be the near future. So what is le futur proche exactly? It's the possibility that we have in French and in other languages to construct basically a future with aller at the present form followed by the infinitive, so the basic form of the verb. Okay, so like in English you would say I am going to travel, for instance. In French we would say je vais voyager. Okay, so remember, first aller that you conjugate at the present form, and then you will put your verb at the infinitive form. Okay, so first, of course, we did introduce the verb aller and the way to conjugate it, but still I think that it is really important to see how it goes. So we will see one more time the conjugation of aller at the present form. Okay, first person here, je vais. Remember, final S not pronounced. Je vais. Okay, tu vas. Same thing here, final S not pronounced. Tu vas. Il, elle va. Nous allons. Final S not pronounced, and then when you get this ON combination, you get this nasal on, really in your nose, okay? On. And then let's make this little liaison here to make it sound more beautiful. Nous allons. Nous allons. Okay? Same thing here. Vous allez. Vous allez. Alright? Remember, classic ending for vous, Z, okay? But then when you combine these two letters, you get the sound E. Okay? Allez. And then vous allez. Alright? And the last persons. Ils, elles vont. Ils vont. Elles vont. Okay, remember, final T not pronounced, so you get this ON nasal here. On vont. Okay, so let's see them one more time. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. Okay, so that's the first part that we will use to construct this futur proche, okay? And then the second part will be, well, the verb that you want to express, but at the infinitive form. So I've been writing few examples here. So the first sentence, je vais voyager. Voyager means to travel. Avec, with, ma famille, my family. Je vais voyager avec ma famille. Okay? So, quite simple way to construct a future form. Tu vas chercher, chercher means to search, une nouvelle maison. Okay? Une nouvelle, nouvelle, it's the feminine form of the adjective nouveau, new, okay? Because maison, house, as you can see here, is feminine, so une nouvelle maison, a new house. Tu vas chercher une nouvelle maison. Okay? And then, il, elle, va partir. Partir is to leave. Okay? Pour means for. Pour un an. 1 year. Un an. Okay? So I will make the liaison just to make it more normal after. Okay, but I just want to divide here. Un an. Okay? So let's read it normally now. Il va partir pour un an. Okay, so you can hear that now I make this link between the two. Un an. Un an. So no break between the two. Un an. Okay? Il va partir pour un an. Elle va partir pour un an. Okay? Then for nous. Nous allons chanter. Chanter means to sing. Okay? Cette chanson. So remember, cette feminine form of ce, this. Okay? Chanson, song. And as chanson is feminine, so you should put this form here at the feminine. This, okay? Nous allons chanter cette chanson. Nous allons chanter cette chanson. And then for vous, vous allez adorer. So adorer, to adore, to love a lot. Ce film, okay? Ce. So you see now this, okay, but then it's the masculine form because film here is masculine. Ce film, this movie, okay? Vous allez adorer ce film. Vous allez adorer ce film. And the last one. Ils vont boire, boire is to drink, un café, a coffee. Ils vont boire un café. Elles vont boire un café. Okay, so let's repeat everything again. Je vais voyager avec ma famille. Tu vas chercher une nouvelle maison. Il va partir pour un an. Elle va partir pour un an. Nous allons chanter cette chanson. Vous allez adorer ce film. Ils vont boire un café. Elles vont boire un café. Bonjour à tous, hi everyone and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 4, leçon B. And in this lesson, we'll try to work on le genre des mots, so the gender of the words, because normally that's something a bit difficult for students to know or to remember the gender of the words. So normally what I tell them is to try to memorize, try to remember the gender when they discover or when they see a new word, but I know it's not easy. Okay, so in this lesson we'll try to see actually a few endings that give you some useful tips, and we'll focus only on the feminine words, and we'll start right now. Sorry. So when you see words that are ending with this ion, so you can be almost. This is quite important. Never say always when you talk about French language, because you always find some exceptions. Okay, so I won't say always. I will say in most of the cases. Okay, when they end with ion, okay, in most of the cases they will be feminine. Okay, so for instance here, la libération, or then la nation. Okay. Other ending is T, so when a word is finishing or ending with T, like that. La rapidité, rapidité means speed. And then la santé, health, okay, in this case, you can be almost sure that these words will be feminine, okay? When they're ending with URE, ur, okay, la peinture, paint, la voiture, car, okay, so they are feminine. And then when they're ending with S, like that, E-S-S-E, so for instance, la politesse, la vitesse. Vitesse means speed, okay? So these words are feminine, and these endings are classical ending for feminine form, okay? So let's see them one more time. La libération, la nation, la rapidité, la santé, la peinture, la voiture, la politesse, la vitesse. Okay? So let's see a few more. So still for the feminine form. So when you will have a word ending with this double T, et, okay, for instance, la chaussette, la roulette, so they will be feminine, okay? Chaussette means sock, and then roulette, well, it's the same, the thing you will find in casinos. And then when they're ending with ie, like here, okay, so basically you don't pronounce the okay, so it will be only the sound I, okay, for instance, la vie, life, okay, la partie, the part, okay, so they will be feminine as well, okay, and then words ending with accent aigu, and then here, okay, remember this final is not pronounced, so you will have this e, remember accent aigu, it's e sound, okay, la poupée, the doll, l'arrivée, the arrival, okay, la poupée, l'arrivée, so feminine as well. In that case, remember that normally it should be la arrivée, but as arrivée, as usual, you know, start with a vowel, then a is disappearing, and then you just put this apostrophe, okay? And then words ending with ud, like that, ude, ud, okay, are normally, in most of the cases, feminine. La gratitude, well, if my understanding is correct, it's exactly the same in English. La gratitude, and then same thing here, latitude, latitude. Okay, so let's repeat them one more time. La chaussette, la roulette, la vie, la partie, la poupée, l'arrivée, la gratitude, latitude. Okay, I know it's not the key, it's not the magic key that will help you forever and that will give you all the time the correct gender of the words, but still you've got some tips now. Okay, it was leçon B. Okay, remember that I've been doing many lessons, so they can be found there on youtube.com/imagier, okay, and then the website is here, imagier.net. You can find more material there. Have a nice day. Bye bye. L'article partitif. So what's l'article partitif? Well, basically it's when you want to say that you want some sugar, for instance, so you don't want to specify the quantity, okay, just want to say that you want some, but you don't want to say 1, 2, 3, okay, then as usual we will have the difference between the masculine form and the feminine form. Okay, so for the masculine form, it will be du. Okay, du. Simple thing. D, U. This is U. This is D. Du. All right. And then for the feminine form, it will be de la. Okay, de la. All right. Masculine form du. Feminine form de la. Alright, let's see few examples now. Je bois, Boire is to drink. Okay, so je bois du café. All right. So you can see the difference here. It would be possible to say je bois un café. Okay. In that case, you would translate it je bois un café by I drink one coffee or I drink a coffee. Okay. In that case, when you put this du café, so first you put the masculine form because café is masculine, okay? And then you want to say, you don't want to specify the quantity, you want to say, I drink some coffee, okay? Je bois du café, okay? The other option as well would be to say, je bois le café. So if you want to put this article défini, but then you would have to put more information after. Le café de ma mère, the coffee of my mother, if you want. Okay, so in that case, in this lesson, we'll only focus on l'article partitif, so it's some. Okay, je bois du café. All right, let's see another option. Tu voudrais. So I wanted to introduce this voudrais form. Okay, so it's coming from vouloir. Vouloir is to want. Okay, but then it's not the present form here. The classic present form, it's the conditionnel form, okay? So it's the polite form that normally we should use. So I would like to have, you know, you don't say tu veux, you don't say you want, because it is too strong and too direct. So normally we tend to use this conditionnel form. So tu voudrais, you would like to have. And then salade, okay, and it's feminine, so you should put the feminine form of this partitif, so de la salade, so some salad, okay. Tu voudrais de la salade. All right. Let's see another example here. Nous mangeons, so manger is to eat, okay, and that's the form for nous, okay. Nous mangeons du gâteau. Gâteau is cake, okay, and it's masculine, so du gâteau. We eat some cake. Vous voulez, okay, so vouloir again, all right, to want, okay, but here it's the present form, okay. Do you want? Vous voulez du fromage, cheese, du fromage, so some cheese. And it's a question. Vous voulez du fromage? Okay, and the last example here. So I've been putting this il y a, we'll see that a bit later in this unit, but it will come. Il y a means there is, okay? Il y a, there is, okay? Il y a de la neige. Neige is snow, okay? Par terre, on the ground, par terre. So there is snow on the ground. Il y a de la neige par terre. Okay, so let's repeat all these sentences. The first one, je bois du café. Second one, tu voudrais de la salade. Nous mangeons du gâteau. Vous voulez du fromage? It's a question, so I've been insisting a little bit too much maybe. Let's do it one more time. Vous voulez du fromage? And the last one, il y a de la neige par terre. Pourquoi? Why? Pourquoi? Why? Okay? So, if you ask a question with pourquoi? Why? Normally, the answer that you will have will start with whether parce que, because, okay? Or then pour, plus one verb at the infinitive form, so the basic form, okay? So whether parce que, and then you just start a sentence, or then pour plus a verb at the infinitive form, okay? Let's see now some examples. First question, pourquoi es-tu ici? Pourquoi es-tu ici? Okay? Ici means here. Es-tu, are you? Why are you here? Pourquoi es-tu ici? So the first answer, parce que, so because, je suis invité, I am invited, by Nicolas. Because I am invited by Nicolas. Parce que je suis invité par Nicolas. Okay, so normally when you start with the parce que, so you want to express the reason why, okay? Parce que je suis invité par Nicolas. Alright? And then, other option would be pour passer la soirée. So in that case, passer should be translated like spend, okay? Pour, to spend, pour passer la soirée, the evening, avec, with, vous, you. Pour passer la soirée avec vous, to spend the evening with you. And in that case, when you will start your answer with pour, okay, so you will express what will you will do after that, okay? Pour passer la soirée avec vous, okay? And in that case, parce que, you want to introduce the reason why, okay? So that's the way we will construct answers when you will ask a question with pourquoi, okay? Où est le cube? Where is the cube? Où est le cube? Okay, so let's see that together. So here, first situation, here, okay, so this is le cube and this is le cylindre, okay, so just to make it clear, because that's the things we'll use to introduce, well, the prepositions. Le cube est sur le cylindre. So you can see it's on, okay, so sur le cylindre, okay, and there is contact here, okay, it's quite important. Second option, same thing, but it's basically under here. Le cube est sous le cylindre, okay, le cube est sous le cylindre. Don't pronounce the final S, and then this OU combination of vowels is pronounced OU, okay? Sous, sous. Le cube est sous le cylindre. Alright? Then, here, no contact, and that's really important, okay? Le cube est au-dessus du cylindre. So let's repeat it. Le cube est au-dessus, final S not pronounced here, au-dessus du cylindre. Okay? Then, same situation, sorry, but then the opposite, so it's here and no contact here. You can see no contact. Le cube est au-dessous du cylindre. Okay? Au-dessous, final S not pronounced, du cylindre. Le cube est au-dessous du cylindre. Alright? So here, I've been putting the plural form because we've got two here. Les cubes sont à côté du cylindre. So next to, okay? Les cubes sont à côté du cylindre. Le cube est à gauche du cylindre. Okay, gauche, left. On the left of le cylindre. Le cube est à gauche du cylindre. Okay, then the next one. Droite, obviously it's right, on the right. Le cube est à droite du cylindre. Le cube est à droite du cylindre. Okay? In front of, le cube est devant le cylindre. Le cube est devant le cylindre. And now, behind, it's not possible to see it, that's the reason why. Le cube est derrière, so behind, le cylindre. Le cube est derrière le cylindre. So I've been taking away the color just to show you that it's inside, okay? So in, le cube est dans, so in, le cylindre. Le cube est dans le cylindre. Les adverbes de lieu. So really useful. And we're starting right now. So the first one that we'll see. So I've been putting each time the English first and then the French version here. Okay, so here. So I won't read the English one. I will focus on the French one if that's okay with you. Ici. Ici. Okay. Then là. So remember you've got this accent, but well, you don't pronounce it. Okay, so it's là. Là. Oops. Là-bas. Là-bas. Remember final S not pronounced. Là-bas. Loin. Loin. So remember when you get this combination O-I-N, it's ouin, 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 okay? Loin. Alright? So let's see them one more time. Ici, là, là-bas, loin. Okay? Devant. Final T not pronounced. Devant. Devant. Derrière. So if you look carefully, you've got here and then double R, so it will open the sound of this and you should pronounce it okay? Derrière. Same thing here. You've got this accent grave, derrière. Okay? Don't pronounce the final Derrière. Okay? Final S not pronounced. Dessus. 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 Dessous. Dessous. Final S not pronounced here. Dessous. Okay, so let's repeat them. Devant, derrière, dessus, dessous. Okay? Dedans. Final S not pronounced. Dedans. Dedans. Dehors. Okay, so remember final S not pronounced, and then this H in French doesn't exist phonetically, so you don't pronounce it. Dehors. 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 En haut. En haut. Okay, final T not pronounced, and then this H as previously, you don't pronounce it, so this is haut. En haut. En haut. En haut. En bas. Final S not pronounced. En bas. En bas. Okay? Quelque part. Don't pronounce the final T. Quelque part. Quelque part. Autre part. Autre part. Autre part. Ailleurs. Look, final S not pronounced, and then you've got this y sound. Ailleurs. Okay, so sorry, I insist a little bit too much maybe, but still, let's read it normally now. Ailleurs. Ailleurs. Okay? Autour. 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 Okay, so repeat them one more time. Quelque part. Autre part, ailleurs, autour. Comment exprimer l'obligation? So when you must do something, well, there is a verb for that to express must, and this is falloir. Falloir, okay, falloir. And then you will have two options. The first one will be il faut. So you've got to remember that falloir is what we call verbe impersonnel, okay, because there is only one form and it's il, third person of the singular. Il faut, okay. So je, tu, nous, vous, etc. They don't exist for falloir. It's only il, okay. Il faut. And then the verb coming after will be at the infinitive, okay? So that's the way to express to must, okay? And then, or to have to if you want, il faut, okay, same form, but then you will add after that un nom, a noun, okay? So whether a verb at the infinitive form or then a noun. So we'll see few examples now. So the first scénario, as we would say in French, is falloir plus infinitif. Okay. So here, il faut respecter les règles. All right. Il faut respecter, so to respect, les règles, the rules. Il faut respecter les règles. Alright, and then another option, so I've been putting here and here the two parts of the negative form. Il ne faut pas fumer, fumer is to smoke, ici, here. Il ne faut pas fumer ici. Okay, so now we'll see the way it works with noun, a noun. And here, for instance, il faut, so still il faut, remember, as I said, it's only il faut, so it's a verbe impersonnel, okay? Une carte d'identité. Il faut une carte d'identité. Second example here, il faut un parapluie, umbrella, un parapluie, car, because, il pleut. It's raining. It rains. Il faut un parapluie, car il pleut. Les adjectifs ordinaux. Les adjectifs ordinaux, so in English it would be first, second, third, fourth, etc., etc. So we'll see how they go in French. And so we'll start with the first, okay? And as usual in French, remember, we've got the difference between the masculine form and the feminine form, okay? So each time we'll have here and here the masculine form and the feminine form. Here, that's the way you can see them written when you get to make them short, okay? So they can be written like that, okay? So we'll pronounce them. Le premier, so the first, le premier, la première. Le premier, la première. Okay? Then, le deuxième, la deuxième. So in that case, it's only the le and la that will be different, because deuxième will be the same if you look at them. Okay? Then, same thing here. Le troisième, la troisième. Le troisième, la troisième. Okay? Le quatrième, la quatrième. Le quatrième, la quatrième. Le cinquième, la cinquième. Le cinquième, la cinquième. Le sixième, la sixième. Le sixième, la sixième. Le septième, so remember we don't pronounce this P here. Le septième, la septième. Okay? Le huitième, remember H doesn't exist. Huitième, huitième, la huitième. Le neuvième, neuvième, so it's V here, remember, vième, la neuvième. Le neuvième, la neuvième. Le dixième, so remember, even if you've got this z, x here, you pronounce it z. Dixième, dixième. Same thing as we had here. Sixième, okay? Le dixième, la dixième. Le verbe partir, partir means to leave, okay, at the present form. So we see this verb because this verb is normally quite useful, and then it is not regular, so it belongs to the third group of verbs, so it's always good to see the conjugation together, okay? So the first form is je pars. So final S not pronounced. Je pars. Tu pars. Same form. You can see here and here. So final S not pronounced. Tu pars. Il, elle, part. Final T not pronounced. Il, elle, part. Okay? So you can see that it's part. Sorry. Part, part, and then part. Okay, so the same phonetical form for these persons, but then obviously and of course for nous it will be different. So classic ending ONS, you don't pronounce the S, you just have this on sound nasal. Nous partons. Nous partons. Okay, then for vous, classic ending for vous as well, EZ, but then you pronounce it et. Vous partez. Vous partez. Okay? And the last persons, il, elle, partent. Remember, classic ending, ENT, but then you don't pronounce them. Partent. Partent. Okay? So let's repeat them again. Je pars. Tu pars. Il part. Elle part. Nous partons. Vous partez. Ils partent, elles partent. Bonjour à tous, hi everyone and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 4, leçon J, and in this lesson we'll discover together how to conjugate at the present form le verbe venir. So venir means to come, okay, so it's quite useful, and especially it does belong to the third group of verbs, so it's not regular. So for the present form, it's quite useful to spend a few minutes just to see the conjugation together. Okay, so we'll start right now. First form, je viens. Final S not pronounced. Je viens. Remember, I-E-N, ien, ien. Je viens. Okay. Tu viens. Final S not pronounced. Tu viens. Okay. Then il, elle, vient. Final T not pronounced. Il, elle, vient. Okay. So, je viens, tu viens, il, elle, vient. Phonetically, it's the same form. Okay. But then for nous, it will be a bit different. ONS, remember, classic ending for nous at the present form. Final S not pronounced. So you will get the sound venons. Nous venons. Nous venons. Okay? Then classic ending for vous, Z here, and then you pronounce it et, vous venez. Vous venez. Okay? And the last one here. So you've got this double N just after the so it will change a little bit your pronunciation. You will have to pronounce this like okay? Ils viennent. So remember this classic ending ENT for the third person of the plural is here, but phonetically it doesn't exist, so you don't pronounce it. Viennent, viennent, okay? Ils viennent, elles viennent. Alright, so let's see the form one more time. Je viens, tu viens, il vient, elle vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils viennent, elles viennent. Alright? So, venir is quite important. Be sure to remember it by heart. Please, 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 s'il vous plaît. And then, when you're ready, you can go at the following address to find the next lesson, okay? And then more material here, imagiers.net. Have a great day. Au revoir. Les pronoms COD, okay? So, no stress, but still, it will be quite important. Okay, les pronoms COD. So we'll take first a sentence. Okay, so it's a question and it's tu regardes la télévision. Okay, so tu regardes, regarder is to watch, la télévision. So if we look at this question, okay, and then we want to define all the elements, the first thing that we've got in this sentence is tu. Okay, so it's here and it's sujet, so the subject of the sentence here. Okay, second part that we've got here is regarde. Okay, regarde here, and it's the verb. Okay, that you've been conjugating. It's es just because it's tu, all right. And the second part, or the third part here, so the last part, la télévision. So la télévision, that's what we will call complément, okay, because it's a complement, it will complete the sentence here by giving some information. It's objet, it doesn't have anything to do because it's la télévision, okay, so it's not an object like that, but it's what we call grammatical object. Okay, and we say that it's direct because you don't have any preposition between the verb and this complément. Okay, so no preposition, so it's direct. Okay, so why do we say that it's quite important to use les pronoms COD? Just because when you've got a question, so if someone is asking you tu regardes la télévision, okay, the first option would be oui, je regarde la télévision. So of course it's possible to repeat, this part, la télévision, okay, but then if we are honest, then in most of the cases we won't repeat la télévision. In that case, we will use what we call pronounce, okay, just to avoid repeating this word. Okay, so let's see these pronouns together. So as usual, we will have the difference between the masculine, the feminine, and the plural. Okay, in that case here we'll start with the masculin singulier. Masculin singulier will be first le, or then, as usual, if we've got a vowel coming after, the E will disappear, so it will be L apostrophe. Okay, le, or then L, like that. Okay, if it's feminine and at the singular form, so we're talking here about the third person of the singular, it will be la, or for the same reasons as previously, L apostrophe if you've got a vowel after. Okay, and then for the plural form, so here we're talking about the third person of the plural, then it will be les. Okay, so let's repeat them one more time. So for the masculine singular form it's le, for the feminine singular form it's la. Okay, and then if they are followed by vowels, then you take a and a away, and then you get this l. Okay, and for the plural form here it's les. All right, so let's see that in action now. So if you get the same question, tu regardes la télévision. All right, so now we've got all the elements. So we know that tu was the subject, regarde the verb, la télévision complément d'objet direct, and that's the thing we want to replace. We don't want to repeat la télévision. Okay, so first, what do we need to do is first to spot the gender of the word. We know that la télévision is feminine. Okay, so we've got all the keys necessary. Oui, je la regarde. So, as I said a long time ago in a lesson, remember that in French, the pronouns, like this one for instance, are coming before the verb. So that's the reason why you will have this la here before the verb. Oui, je la regarde. Okay? Let's take another question. And here you've got tu vas regarder la télévision. So what's the difference between the previous question and this question? Well, this is, and we saw that in a previous lesson, I guess it was on this unit, so you can check it if you're not sure about that. That's what we call the futur proche, so the near future. Tu vas regarder la télévision, you are going to watch. Okay, so that's the near future. Tu vas regarder la télévision. Okay, and then here, if you look carefully, well, you've got two verbs. And that's the important thing here. So if you will have a structure with two verbs, and then you want to use a pronoun, this pronoun will come always before the second verb. Like here, oui, je vais la regarder. Okay? So I'm not telling you that it will come between the two verbs, because you can have many things between these verbs. Okay? So focus on this idea that it will come before the second verb. Oui, je vais la regarder. Okay? So we'll see that les pronoms complément d'objet direct can replace all the persons. So for the first person it will be me, second person it will be te, third person of the singular, so the one we saw, le for the masculine form, and then la for the feminine form. First person of the plural, nous. So basically it's quite easy to memorize this one, to remember it. Same thing here. Second person of the plural, vous. And then third person of the plural, les. Alright, so me, te, le, la, nous, vous, les. Alright? So we'll see now a few examples. So the first one, il me regarde. So if you want to say that he is looking at me, il me regarde. Okay? So remember, as I said previously, these pronouns are coming before the verb. Okay? Il me regarde. Present form, only one verb, you just put it before. Il me regarde. Il te regarde. So he's looking at you. Il te regarde. Il le regarde. Il la regarde. He's looking at him, he's looking at her. Il nous regarde. Il vous regarde. Il les regarde. Okay, it's not that difficult when you try to remember. Well, first of course the pronouns, and then this idea that it will come before the verb. Well, honestly, it's not that tricky. Okay, I've been putting the same sentence, but then at this near future form. Okay, so just to show you, if you forgot it, that it should come before the second verb. Okay, so il va me regarder, so he's going to watch me, or to look at me. Okay, il va me regarder. Il va te regarder. Il va le regarder. Il va la regarder. Il va nous regarder. Il va vous regarder. Il va les regarder. Les pronoms COI. Okay, les pronoms COI. So, well, let's say that it's the second part of les pronoms CO, complément d'objet. Okay, so if you didn't watch the previous lesson, well, maybe it would be better to do so that you could understand maybe more clearly the whole thing. Okay, but then still we're starting right now. So, les pronoms complément d'objet direct. So we'll start with une question, a question. Okay, so we'll see. It's a basic question. Okay, you get tu parles à ton frère. Okay, parler is to talk. Tu parles, you talk to your brother, à ton frère. Okay, so if we have a look at the elements in this sentence, the first part or the first element is tu, okay, and that's the subject of the sentence, tu, all right. Then the second element is parle, okay, and that's the verb. So it's ending like that because you've been conjugating this verb according to tu, okay, but it's a verb here. And then we've got this last part here, à ton frère. So that's what we call complément, so it will come to complete the sentence, okay, and it's objet, okay, so be careful, it's really what we call a grammatical object. So it's not an object because in that case it's a good example because it's a person, okay, but then it's a grammatical object and it's indirect because you've got this preposition à here, okay. So in the previous lesson we saw the direct ones, okay, they were without any preposition, okay, but then in this lesson it's indirect because you've got the preposition à here, okay, and it will change the things. So let's see the question. You can ask the question, so it's the same. Tu parles à ton frère, okay, and then the answer that you could give, of course, would be oui, je parle à mon frère. But let's say that in most of the cases in French we won't repeat this à mon frère part, okay? We'd rather use pronouns just to avoid repeating this complément d'objet indirect, okay? So we'll see how they go. As usual in French, we will have the difference between the masculine form, the feminine form, and the plural form, okay? And here, just to start, we'll start with masculine singular, okay? Masculine singular form will be lui, okay? Ui, lui, all right? Féminin singulier, so feminine form and the singular form here, it will be lui. So it's quite easy to memorize, to remember, okay, because it is the same form for the masculine and the feminine form, okay? And then for the plural form, so third person of the plural, to be more precise, it will be leur, okay? So masculine singular, third person of the singular, lui, féminin singulier, feminine singular form, third person of the singular, lui, and then the plural form, third person of the plural, leur, okay? Let's see now the same question, okay? Tu parles à ton frère, okay? And the idea in that case, of course, is to avoid repeating this part here, so complément d'objet indirect, and to replace it with the pronoun, okay? So first we know that it's indirect because we've got the preposition here. We know here that it's masculine because it's brother, okay? And then we've got the information here because it's ton, all right? So we've got all the elements just to reply using the pronoun. Oui, je, lui parle. Okay, so the only thing you should really think about here is the position. So you should remember, as I said previously, that the pronouns in French will be placed before the verb. So, je lui parle. Oui, je lui parle. Alright? And then we could have, well, basically the same question, but then this question would be like it is here at the near future. So if you didn't see the lesson regarding the near future, maybe it would be more useful for you to watch it, but still the near future, it's a way to construct the future, but at the present tense with the verb aller, to go. You are going to speak or talk, okay, to your brother. Okay, so you are going to, but then the important thing in that case is that you've got two verbs. Okay, you've got aller here, to go, and then you've got parler, to speak or to talk. Okay, and when you've got two verbs, then for the pronoun that you would like to use, you will have to put it just before the second verb. Oui, je vais lui parler. Okay, so I'm not telling you that it should be between, because that's the case here, but then between these two verbs you could put many things, okay, like adverbs or other things. Okay, so remember that this pronoun lui should be before the second verb. Alright, so now we'll see these pronouns, but then for all the persons. Okay, for the first person of the singular, it will be me. Second person of the singular, te. Then third person, like we saw, so masculine and feminine, I only put one, so lui, because it's the same. First person of the plural, nous. Second person of the plural, vous. Third person of the plural, leur. Okay, me, te, lui, nous, vous, leur. Alright? So let's see examples now. So he's talking to me. Il me parle. Okay, remember, me, and then before the verb, il me parle. He's talking to you. Il te parle. Il lui parle. I don't know why lui is still white. Well, maybe it was a mistake from my... Yeah, it is a mistake. It should be orange, but then still. Il lui parle. Okay. Il nous parle. Il vous parle. Il leur parle. Alright? Il me parle. Il te parle. Il lui parle. Il nous parle. Il vous parle, il leur parle. Okay, so these examples are with one verb, okay, and then I've been rewriting the same sentence, but then at the near future, okay, with the two verbs, and then we can see how they go now. Il va me parler, he's going to talk to me. Il va me parler, so remember, you know, me before the second verb. Il va te parler, he's going to talk to you. Il va lui parler, he's going to talk to her, or he's going to talk to him, okay? Il va nous parler, he's going to talk to us. Il va vous parler, he's going to talk to you. Il va leur parler, he's going to talk to them, okay? Il va me parler, il va te parler, il va lui parler, il va nous parler, il va vous parler, il va leur parler. Bonjour à tous, hi everyone and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 4, leçon M. And in this lesson we'll see how to conjugate together le verbe vouloir. Vouloir means to want, and it belongs to the third group of verbs in French, so irregular. So that's the reason why I think it's quite good to see the conjugation at the present form together. So here it goes. Vouloir, first person, Je veux, final X not pronounced. Je veux. Tu veux, final X not pronounced, the same form. Il veut, final T not pronounced. Elle veut. Okay, so here, so far we've got one phonetical form, it's veut. Then for nous, classic ending, ONS, don't pronounce the S, just pronounce the on. Nous voulons. Nous voulons. Same thing here, classic ending EZ for vous, but then you pronounce it et. Vous voulez. Vous voulez. Vous voulez. And the last one, here, EU, and then ENT, classic ending, but then you don't pronounce it, so you get veulent, veulent. Ils veulent, elles veulent. Ils veulent, elles veulent. Okay, so let's repeat it one more time. Je veux, tu veux, il veut, elle veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils veulent, elles veulent. So that's it for this lesson. It was leçon M. Well, you can find more lessons right here. IMAGIERS is the name of the channel on YouTube, and then more material can be found there at imagiers.net. Have a great day. Au revoir. Le verbe savoir. Savoir means to know, and it's quite useful. And but then it is irregular, so it belongs to the third group of verbs. So it's quite good to see the way to conjugate it together. Okay, at the present form, and we'll see it right now. Okay, so let's start now. Je sais. Okay, final S not pronounced, and then you get this A-I, E. Okay, je sais, sais. Okay. Tu sais, same form, final S not pronounced. Tu sais. Il sait, final T not pronounced. Elle sait. So one phonetical form so far. Nous savons. So classic ending for nous, O-N-S. You don't pronounce the final S. Nous savons. Nous savons. Okay. Then vous savez. Classic ending for vous, EZ, but then phonetically it's et. Vous savez. Savez. And then il. Here, classic ending for il and elle at the plural form, E-N-T. You don't pronounce it, so you get the sound savent. V-v-v-v, savent. Okay? Ils savent, elles savent. So let's see that one more time. Je sais, tu sais, il sait, elle sait, nous savons, vous savez, ils savent, elles savent. Il y a, so we saw it in a previous lesson quite shortly. So il y a means there is or there are. But then in French, we will have only one form, il y a. Okay? So let's see, for instance, here, a question. Est-ce qu'il y a un magasin dans le quartier? Okay? Est-ce qu'il y a, so, is there un magasin, a shop, dans le quartier, in the neighborhood? Okay? Est-ce qu'il y a un magasin dans le quartier? All right. So the answer would be oui, il est juste ici. Yes, it is right here. Oui, il est juste ici. Okay. So in that case, we've been using this il y a, there is. Okay. Just because un magasin, well, it's singular. Okay. So it's basically there is a shop, there is something. Okay. Let's see now. Here. Same thing. Il y a une piscine, a swimming pool, dans cette ville. Il y a une piscine dans cette ville. All right. So you can see that in the first example, I've been using this est-ce que You remember we saw that previously, that you can add if you want to ask a question, okay? Or then it's possible here just to keep the same order. There is, il y a, okay? Une piscine, a swimming pool, dans cette ville, in this town, okay? But then don't forget to raise your voice at the end because it's a question. Il y a une piscine dans cette ville? Il y a une piscine dans cette ville? Okay, just a little bit to make it clear that it's a question, okay? So answer, oui, elle est à côté de la mairie. À côté, remember it was next or near, okay? And then la mairie, city hall. Oui, elle est à côté de la mairie. All right? So in both cases here, il y a, just because it was masculin singulier, okay? And then here, il y a une piscine, féminin singulier. All right, and we'll see now the other option that we would have to ask correctly the question. So first, look at it. Il y a, actually, you should change the order and put it like that. And the way you will pronounce it is y a-t-il, y a-t-il. Okay, so that's the correct form to ask a question with il y a, so the formal form, if you want. And then des toilettes, here it's the plural form, okay, toilets, okay. So it doesn't really change because it will stay il y a, okay, but then here, of course, the order is changing, so that's the reason why it can be a bit tricky to notify the fact that basically it doesn't change even if it's plural here, okay. Dans ce restaurant, in this restaurant. Y a-t-il des toilettes dans ce restaurant? Y a-t-il des toilettes dans ce restaurant? Okay, and then the answer, oui, elles sont juste à droite. Okay, droite, remember, it was on the right. À droite, on the right. Just on the right. Oui, elles sont juste à droite. Okay, so to resume the whole thing, remember this il y a will be used so for there is, so like here, un magasin, a shop, so it's the singular form, okay? Or then here as well, il y a, there is, une piscine, a swimming pool, but still it will be also used as like that, il y a, okay, or then in the other order here, for the plural form, okay? It doesn't change. So that's one interesting thing in French. For once, it's easy. It doesn't change. Il y a plus singulier, or then il y a plus pluriel. Okay?
And in this unit, we'll discover together le passé composé. So le passé composé is a past tense, and it's probably the one that you will use in most of the cases, because that's the past tense that we tend to use to express what we've been doing for the weekend, or normally the past that is not that far. If you're talking about your childhood or something really far, we will normally use another tense that's called l'imparfait, that we'll see a bit later. So now in this lesson we'll focus on le passé composé. So we'll have now few examples here just to show you first how it goes, okay? So in this first sentence, so I took this manger, to eat verb, okay? Je mange au restaurant. And so if you look carefully, you can see that this sentence is at the present tense, okay? Je mange au restaurant. So I eat at the restaurant, okay? And then here, I wanted to show you what this passé composé form looks like, okay? So you can see that you've got first here the verb avoir at the present form, okay? So it goes like j'ai, and then the second part, so because that's the main concept of this passé composé. Composé means composed, so you will have two parts, okay? And this is the second part here, and that's what we call participe passé, so past participle, and it goes like manger with an accent here at the end, okay? So we'll see why in a few minutes, okay? So the rest doesn't change, okay? And then you've got this j'ai mangé au restaurant. Well, it's the sentence, same sentence, but it's at the past tense. So it could be like yesterday, maybe last weekend. Okay? Another example here. Tu regarde la télévision. Okay, remember, regarder is to watch. Okay, so you are watching the television. Tu regardes la télévision, so that's here the present tense. Okay, and so if we want to put the same verb at the past tense, well, basically we've got to respect the same rule that we had previously. Here you see we had avoir, so at the first person for je, and then here we've got avoir at the second person for tu, you. Okay, and it's at the present form here, tu as, and then same thing here, you will have to put this participe passé form, okay, past participle, with an accent here, because it belongs to the first group. Tu as regardé la télévision. Okay, so of course, I know that many of you will say, it looks so simple, it's not possible to be so simple in French, and that's true. We will have exceptions. And here we've got a good example. So, il va au travail. Okay, remember, va, it's the form at the present tense for the verb aller. Aller is to go. Okay, and so we will see that few verbs, we will have to change a little bit the way to construct the passé composé, because here you can see that in the past tense sentence here, we don't use avoir, as we did previously, like with manger, j'ai, tu as, with regarder, okay? But we will use être, okay? Il est, and then you can see here, aller, so participe passé, au travail, at work. Il est allé au travail, okay? And this will be, well, the first difficulty of the passé composé form. So you should really think about the fact that, well, most of the verbs will be constructed with avoir, okay, and the one that you will construct with être will be the exceptions. So you will have to remember them by heart, of course, okay, so we'll make a list after. But then, so if we want to make it simple, so just to resume the whole thing first, okay, so normally if you want to construct this passé composé form, then the first part that you will have to put is avoir at the present tense, and then the second part will be this participe passé form, okay, that we will see, and then you will get this passé composé, okay. For the exceptions, as I said, we will have to use être at the present form, then the participe passé form, so you will get this passé composé. Okay? Now, let's see the verbs that will require être at the passé composé. The first one that we saw in the example that I gave you previously was aller. Aller is to go. Okay? Second one, arriver. Arriver means to arrive. Third one, descendre. Descendre means to go down. Then devenir. Devenir means to become. Then entrer. Entrer, to enter. Monter. Monter, to go up. Mourir. Mourir, to die. Naître. Naître, to born. Partir. Partir, to leave. Rester. Rester, to stay. Retourner. Retourner, to return. Sortir. Sortir, to go out. Tomber. Tomber, to fall. Venir. Venir, to come. Okay, so remember that all these verbs here that we saw will require the verb être at the passé composé form. Okay, so the others will require avoir. Okay, so you can see now that, I mean, most of the verbs will require avoir. Okay, and then these verbs will require être. Okay, so let's repeat them one more time. Aller, arriver, descendre, devenir, entrer, monter, mourir, naître, partir, rester, retourner, sortir, tomber, venir. Okay? So, let's see the other group of verbs that will all the time require être. And these verbs are, well, what we call this réfléchi, sorry, verbe réfléchi, so I was thinking about the reflexive in English, okay? So, se regarder, for instance, okay? So remember that we've got these verbs, like, so regarder is to watch or to look, and then when you put this se regarder, well, basically you will have the meaning like to look or to watch at oneself, okay? And all these verbs will require être. Okay, s'appeler as well, to call oneself. Se présenter, to present oneself. So all these verbs, but then more generally, all the verbs constructed with this se form, okay, so to have this reflexive form, will require être. Okay? So now, let's see again one more time, if that's okay with you, the conjugation at the present form of avoir and être, because that's the verbs you will have to use, okay? So avoir, remember, it goes like j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, so remember, masculine, feminine, nous avons, so you can put this little liaison, link between the two. Nous avons. Vous avez. Same thing here. Little link between the two. And then ils ont. So the link as well, the liaison. Elles ont. Alright, so j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Okay, so it's avoir at the present form. So the form you will have to use for the first part of the passé composé, and then être, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, okay, little liaison here, little link, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. Okay, so one more time, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. All right? And so for the second part, so what we call this participe passé, so the past participle, you get to remember that the first group of verbs, so if you remember, they end with this er, okay, so we had parler, regarder, etc. So the infinitive form like er will give you accent aigu at the participe passé. So for example here we've got parler. Parler is to talk or to speak. So it ends like here with er. You can see that. First group of verbs, so it will go like parler, like that. The funny thing is that phonetically they are the same. So infinitive parler. So if you remember, we saw that previously. So, I mean, this combination of two letters at the end of the words normally gives the sound e. Okay, parler, and then past participle, participe passé, parler. Same thing here. Regarder, regarder. Okay, and then even the high irregular verb aller, because aller doesn't belong to the first group, even if it ends with er, we saw that previously. But then even this verb will give, well, normal or easy participe passé. Okay, it goes like aller, like that. Okay, so parler, regarder, regarder is to watch, and then aller, aller is to go. Okay, the verbs from the second group, so second group, not all the
ER verbs, unfortunately, but most of them, well, it would be quite simple because this ER will become I, alright? So you will have verbs like choisir, choisir is to choose, will become choisi for the participe passé form, okay? Finir, to finish, to end, fini, like that. Unir, to unite, uni, alright? So it's not that difficult, okay? So choisi, fini, uni. After that, the difficulties are for the third group of verbs, so the irregular ones. So usually it's quite difficult to make some groups and subgroups, but then we can have few examples here, like connaître. Connaître is to know, okay, and it will give you connu, okay. Voir, like oeil, will become vu, all right. Then verbs like partir, okay, even if it doesn't belong to the second group, it will give you parti, okay. Rire, I-R-E, it will give you ri, okay, partir to leave, and then rire to laugh, okay. Écrire, to write, so I-R-E, will give it, écrit, okay. Remember that even if you've got this final T, you don't pronounce it, so it goes like écrit. Okay, dire, I-R-E as well, will give you dit, same thing here, it, but then you pronounce it I, okay. Écrire, to write, dire, to say. And then mettre, to put, so E-T-T-R-E, will give you this I-S, mi, same thing here, final S is not pronounced, mi, okay. And then prendre, so E-N-D-R-E, will give es, prix, okay? Same thing here, you don't pronounce the final S, okay? So let's see that again. So when you get this être, it will go like u, connaître, connu. Then when you will have this oer, it will give you u, voir, vu, okay? Ir, I, partir, parti. IRE will give you I, rire, ri, okay? IRE here, IT, but then phonetically it's I as well because you don't pronounce the final T, okay? Écrire, écrit. IRE, IT, same group. Dire, dit, okay? Then ETTRE will give you this ES, but then you don't pronounce the S, so you get I. Mettre, mi, and then ENDRE, ES, but then same thing here, the sound I. Prendre, prix, okay? So this is normally the difficulty of the passé composé, to remember the participe passé form, okay? In most of the cases, I tend to tell my students that, well, they should learn them by heart, especially the irregular ones, because after that, I mean, the regular ones are quite easy to handle, but anyway, it's your shot. So let's see a few examples now. So if we take the verb parler, so parler, to speak or to talk, so it goes like j'ai parlé, okay? Tu as parlé, il a parlé, elle a parlé, nous avons parlé, vous avez parlé, ils ont parlé, elles ont parlé. So if you look at it, it's not that difficult, you know. As I said, the only thing first that you should really remember, it's the verb avoir, but then I assume that at this level now, it should be okay for you. And then you get to, after that, construct it and put this participe passé form. And for the regular verbs like parler, it's quite easy, and phonetically it's the same. So j'ai parlé. Okay? Let's see now a few things that you've got to remember. So if you construct the passé composé form with the verb être, okay? So we saw the exceptions, I mean the verbs that are constructed with être, okay? You will have to remember one important thing. If you've got here the example of il est allé, okay? So you can see that aller goes like that without anything after, but if you look at the feminine form, elle est
aller. So you can see that the difference between the two is that I've been adding this little e at the end. So this is the thing that you will have to remember if you construct this passé composé form with être. You will have to put at the end of this participe passé form something according to the gender. So in that case it's the feminine form. You will have to put e at the end, okay? Or let's continue. If you've got the plural form like here, il, okay, masculine plural, and that's important, you will have to add this s at the end. And logically, for once in French, if you've got the feminine plural form, so elles here, elles sont allées, you will have to add first this e, so for the feminine, and then s for the plural. Okay, so that's the one, important thing that you will have to remember if you want to construct this passé composé form. Okay, keep in mind one thing. If you want to use French orally, so if you want only to talk, the good thing here, listen to me, il est allé, elle est allée, ils sont allés, elles sont allées. So the good news for you is that even if you write them differently, you will pronounce it the same way. So phonetically, it doesn't change at all. Okay, here you've got aller, aller, even if you've got the final e, you don't pronounce it. Aller, even if you've got the s. Aller, even if you've got this es. Okay, so doesn't change. But if you want to write correctly, you will have to remember that you put this final e when you've got a feminine form, so feminine singular form. You will have to put this s if you've got the plural form, so masculine plural, and you will have to add this es if you've got the feminine plural form. Okay? Continuons. So, if we have the full thing for aller, it goes like je suis allé, tu es allé, il est allé, elle est allée, nous sommes allés, vous êtes allés, ils sont allés, elles sont allées. Okay? Let's see as well an example for all these reflexive verbs. Je me suis présenté, tu t'es présenté, il s'est présenté, elle s'est présentée, nous nous sommes présentés, vous vous êtes présentés, ils se sont présentés, elles se sont présentées. Okay? So, the thing that we've got to keep in mind is in most of the cases, you will have to use this avoir at the present form, then this participe passé form, and you will get this passé composé. Okay? In some cases, for the verbs, so the list of verbs we saw, and it's not a long list, so try to remember it. And all the reflexive verbs, you will have to use this être at the present form, then the participe passé. Then you will get this passé composé form. The lesson will work on le participe passé. So in the previous lesson, I introduced the passé composé form, okay? And if you remember, it was quite important to know how to construct this participe passé. So participe passé is a past participle in English. Just because, well, in most of the cases, it is easy for the regular group, so the two first group of verbs that we have in the French language, but for the rest of the verbs, it's a bit tricky, to be honest. Okay, so we'll see that together. But then, so as I said, for the first group, so the group of verbs ending with er, like that, it is quite easy because you only need to take this er away and replace it with accent aigu. Okay, so parler, to talk, to speak, will give you parler. Okay, the good thing for the phonetical part is that it is the same. Parler, parler. You pronounce it the same, okay? Regarder, so to watch, will give you regarder, okay? And then even this aller verb, so irregular verb, but then it will behave like the regular verbs. So aller will give you aller, accent aigu like that, okay? Second group of verbs, not all the IR verbs, we'll see that a bit later, but most of them, and it's quite easy as well because you will have to take this IR away and just replace it with I. Okay, so choisir, to choose, will give you choisi. Finir will become fini. Unir, uni. Okay, choisir to choose, finir to finish or to end, unir to unite. Okay, so the two first group of verbs are quite easy to modify just to make this participe passé form. Okay, but then the third group is a bit more tricky, so we saw a few examples. So like this one, A-I-T-R-E will become U, connaître, to know, connu. O-I-R, voir, to see, will become U, vu. Okay, IR, so even if partir doesn't belong to the second group, then it will behave the same way, will become I, partir, to leave, parti. Rire, I-R-E, same thing here, will become I, rire, ri, okay? I-R-E will become I-T, okay? Écrire, to write, will become écrit. Okay, remember that phonetically this final T doesn't exist, okay, so the sound will be only this I, écrit, alright. Dire, I-R-E, will become I-T, dit, okay, phonetically, same thing here, you don't pronounce the final T. Mettre, E-T-T-R-E, will become I-S, final S not pronounced, so mettre, to put, mis. Prendre, so E-N-D-R-E, will become I-S. Same thing here, final S not pronounced, so prendre, prix. Okay? So we will work now on the two main verbs of the French language. So avoir, to have, and obviously it will be a bit strange. It will become EU, so you will have to write this participe passé form like that. Okay? But you will have to pronounce it U. So remember, main difference or big difference between what you write and what you pronounce. So you write it like that, U, but then you pronounce it U, okay? And then être is, well, it's a bit more simple in a way. So it's été, okay? Accent aigu, T, accent aigu, été, all right? So U and then été. All right, so let's see, or let's discover a few groups of verbs. So verbs ending with RIR, okay, will become RU for the participe passé form. So we'll see a few verbs. Courir, couru. Accourir, accouru. Concourir, concouru. Parcourir, parcouru. Now a new group, so NER, so verbs ending with NER, and it will become NU, okay? Tenir, tenu. Appartenir à, appartenu à. Contenir, contenu. Entretenir, entretenu. And then it continues. Maintenir, maintenu. Obtenir, obtenu. Retenir, retenu. Okay? So now another group, so verbs ending with UIRE, and they will become UIT, okay, for the participe passé. Let's see. Conduire, conduit. Construire, construit. Cuire, cuit. Détruire, détruit. Instruire, instruit. Okay, so you can notice that even if I put this final T, so as usual, I don't pronounce it. Okay, conduit, construit, cuit, détruit, instruit. Okay, so a few more verbs. Introduire, introduit, produire, produit, réduire, réduit, séduire, séduit, traduire, traduit. Okay, so the same rule because, well, basically it's the same group and then same rule, final T not pronounced, so introduit, produit, réduit, séduit, traduit. Okay? Another group of verbs, so verbs ending with A, I, accent circonflexe, T, R, E, and it will become U. So let's see a few examples. Connaître, connu. Reconnaître, reconnu. Apparaître, apparu. Disparaître, disparu. Paraître, paru. And now let's discover the oudre verbs like coudre, cousu, moudre, moulu, résoudre, résolu. So it's just to show you that, you know, some verbs can be really irregular, and it's quite easy in some cases to make some groups and subgroups. So you should learn these verbs and the others, I mean the irregular ones, by heart if you really want to master this participe passé form and all the composed tenses that will use the participe passé. Okay, so but then let's continue the groups. So group of verbs ending with A, I, N, D, R, E, and they will become A, I, N, T. Okay, so a few examples. Craindre, craint. Contraindre, contraint. Plaindre, plaint. Okay, and as usual, final T here is not pronounced, so you get craint, contraint, plaint. Okay. Another group, so E-I-N-D-R-E, and it will become E-I-N-T. Okay, so let's see. Atteindre, atteint. Éteindre, éteint. Feindre, feint. Peindre, peint. Teindre, teint. Okay, as usual, final T not pronounced. Atteint, éteint. Fin, pain, teint. Okay. Now the verbs ending with O-I-N-D-R-E, and they will become O-I-N-T. Okay, so let's see. Joindre, joint. Rejoindre, rejoint. Okay, same thing. Final T not pronounced. Joint. So when you get this O-I-N combination of letters, you get the sound ouin. Okay, joint, and then rejoint. Another group, so verbs ending with O-I-R, so it will become U, or then U accent circonflexe. So even if you put this accent circonflexe, you don't pronounce it, okay, it doesn't change the sound of the letter U, so it's the same phonetically, it's U and then U, okay? A few examples. Décevoir, déçu. Apercevoir, aperçu. Concevoir, conçu. Recevoir, reçu. Devoir, dû. Mouvoir, mu. All right? And now another group, so I-R-E, and they will become I for the participe passé form, okay? Rire, rit. Sourire, sourit. Suffire, suffit. How we can say what time it is in French, so l'heure. Are you ready? Let's start now. So, let's take this simple and interesting example. So you get this one. So you will have the chance or the possibility to use two options or two forms. The first one, il est. Okay, so we will use this verb être to introduce the time, and we will use this il form. So don't think of it like he. Okay, but then that's the form that we'll use. Okay, il est 6 heures. All right, so heure, you write it like that. Remember, H is not pronounced, okay? So it goes like heure. Il est 6 heures. If you want to be more precise, you can use this morning word, okay? So it would be like in the morning, but then morning, okay? Il est 6 heures du matin. Okay, so in that case, you just want to insist on the fact that it's not in the afternoon, okay, but it's in the morning. Il est 6 heures du matin. Okay, so now another example, quite important, because normally French people tend to start to eat at that time. So, first option would be il est 12, okay, because that's the number, 12 heures. Okay, and then the other option, il est midi. Okay, so midi will be the expression we will use instead of this 12 heures. Okay, midi. Quite easy to pronounce. Il est midi. Okay, same thing here. We've got two options. The first one would be il est 15 heures. Okay, because that's the number. 15, 15. Il est 15 heures. All right, and then the other option we would have is to use 3 instead of 15, okay, and then we can put après-midi, afternoon, okay. Il est 3 heures de l'après-midi. Il est 3 heures de l'après-midi. Okay, so first option, like the official one, il est 15 heures, okay, and the less formal one, the one that maybe you will use if you're discussing with friends or colleagues, il est 3 heures de l'après-midi. Il est 18 heures. Okay? Il est 18 heures. Alright, so that's the number, 18, okay? Or then you can use this 6, okay? And in that case, when we use this 6 heures, we tend to think that, well, that's the limit. It's not really the afternoon, it's the beginning of the evening, so we use soir. D'accord? Il est 6 heures du soir. First option, il est 18 heures. Second possibility, il est 6 heures du soir. Okay? And now, il est 21 heures. So you don't say un, you say une, so 21, just because heure is feminine, so that's the reason why you've got to put this feminine form here. Il est 21 heures. Alright, or then the other option, il est 9 heures du soir. Il est 9 heures du soir. Okay? Here. Il est 24 heures, okay, 24, 24 heures, or then, il est minuit. Il est minuit. So minuit would be like midnight, okay? Il est minuit. So now, if we want to introduce the minutes, les minutes, first option would be il est 17h10. Okay, keep in mind that in French we don't write minute here. Okay, just write 10. 17h10. Okay, or then il est 5h10. Il est 19h15. Okay, 15. 15. Or then we've got the other option. It's to use this écart, écart. Il est 7h15. First one, il est 19h15, or then, il est 7h15. Il est 15h30, 30, or then, il est 3h30. Il est 3h30. And now, if we're going after 30, so, for example, here, we've got, il est 7h35. So that's the first possibility, 35, 35. Okay, but then as in many languages, it's possible to say minus something. Okay, in that case, it would be 25. So you can say, il est 8 heures moins, moins means minus, 25, 25. Il est 8 heures moins 25. Okay, and you can see that here as well, we don't use the minute word after. Just put the numbers. Okay, il est 8 heures moins 25. Il est 9h45. Il est 9h45. 45, 45. Or, other option, il est 10 heures moins le quart. Moins le quart. Il est 10 heures moins le quart. Il est 11h55. 55, 55. Or then, il est midi, remember, noon, il est midi moins 5. Il est midi moins 5. In this lesson, we'll see vocabulary and then vocabulary connected to la maison, the house. So let's start now. La maison, l'appartement, l'appartement, l'étage, l'étage, l'escalier, l'escalier, la porte d'entrée, la porte d'entrée, le garage, le garage. Okay, so one more time. L'appartement, so it's the masculine form, by the way. L'étage, same thing here, masculine word. L'escalier, same thing here, masculine. La porte d'entrée. Le garage. Okay, so let's continue now. La cave. Les poubelles. La cheminée. L'ascenseur. Le portail. Okay, so la cave. Les poubelles. So here you've got the plural form, but then if you want to put the singular form, it would be la poubelle. Okay, so you know that, you know now, sorry, that it's a feminine word. La cheminée. L'ascenseur, okay, and it's masculine. Le portail. Let's continue. La sonnette. Le balcon, le toit, la fenêtre, le grenier. Okay, so la sonnette, le balcon, le toit, remember final T not pronounced, la fenêtre, le grenier. Remember this ER here at the end will give you the sound E, nier, grenier. Today we will work on les adjectifs qualificatif. So adjectives that are really, really useful, and we'll see that in most of the cases, well, we will put this adjective after the name. Okay, so let's see a few examples now. The first one, travailleur, travailleuse. So when it comes to adjective, you've got to keep in mind that, of course, as usual in French, we will have the difference between the masculine form and the feminine form. And after this page, we'll see the same page, but then for the plural version, because, of course, we will have the difference between the singular and the plural form. Okay, so travailleur, masculine, so I will put always the first form here at the masculine form and then the feminine form here, travailleuse. Okay, so let's see another example. Heureux, heureuse. Aventureux, aventureuse. Merveilleux, merveilleuse. Sérieux, sérieuse. Joyeux, joyeuse. Paresseux, paresseuse. Naturel, naturel. So here you can see that we write them differently, but then phonetically they are the same. Listen, naturel, naturel. Okay, same way of saying them. Léger, légère. Régulier, régulière. Blanc, blanche. And so for these adjectives and others as well, you should put them after the name, après le nom. Okay, so let's see now the same, exact same adjective, but then at the plural form. Okay, so you can see that travailleur, you will only need to add this final S here. So phonetically it's the same, travailleur singular form without the S, and then travailleur plural form with the S, it's the same. Feminine form, travailleuse, same rule and same phonetical thing, you don't pronounce the final S, so you get travailleuse. Okay, travailleur, travailleuse. Then heureux, doesn't change, heureuse, final S, not pronounced. Aventureux, doesn't change, aventureuse, final S, not pronounced. Merveilleux, doesn't change, merveilleuse, so final S, and then, what a surprise, you don't pronounce it. Sérieux, sérieuse. Joyeux, joyeuse. Paresseux, paresseuse. Naturel, naturel. Léger, légère. Régulier, régulière. Blanc, blanche. Okay, so remember, they will come after the name, après le nom. Okay, but then, so, oh, sorry, we've got some examples now. C'est un homme travailleur. J'aime la viande froide. Voici une femme heureuse. Nous prenons un repas léger. Alright, so if we take 1 minute to look at it, you've got here, travailleur, froide, heureuse, léger, so they are adjectives, okay? And then you've got to keep in mind that you will have to put whether the masculine or the feminine, singular or plural form according to the word it is connected to. In that case here, you've got un homme,
it's a man. Okay, so masculine. You can see here that it's the singular form, it's un. So you've got to put this adjective at the masculine singular form, travailleur, like that. Okay, in that case here, you've got la viande, the meat, sorry. So you can see here that it's singular and it's feminine because it's la, the article la. Okay, so you will put froid, so it's cold. Okay, you will put it at the feminine form with the final e. Okay, but not the plural because it's only the, here the singular form. And then here we've got une femme, a woman. Okay, so feminine article, une. Okay, and it's the singular form, so heureuse, here feminine form, singular form. And then the last one, repas, it's a meal. Okay, and here you can see that you've got the article, so it's the singular and it's the masculine, so léger, light, should be at the masculine singular form. Alright? So let's see now adjectives that will come before the word, the name or the word if you want. Okay, so let's see them. And we've got beau, belle, bon, bonne, grand, grande, gros, grosse, jeune. So it's interesting here because you get only one form. For the masculine and the feminine, it doesn't change. Joli, jolie. Mauvais, mauvaise. Nouveau, nouvelle. Petit, petite. Vieux, vieille. Autre, same thing here as for jeune, only one form. Okay, so these adjectives will come before the word or before the name. Okay, so we'll see now the plural version, and it's beau. Okay, so you put this X at the end, but then you don't pronounce it, so it's beau. All right, belle, bon, bonne. Final S not pronounced. Grand, grande. Gros, grosse. Jeune. Joli, jolie. Mauvais, mauvaise. Nouveau, nouvelle. Petit, petite. Vieux, vieille. Autre. All right, so let's see now. Important thing, so we've got some adjectives like beau, so the one we just saw previously, so beau, and then we will have this belle form as well for the masculine form. So let's see here the reason why. So in the first sentence, merci pour ce beau cadeau. So thank you for this beautiful gift. Okay, merci pour ce beau cadeau. So in this sentence, so as we saw previously, we've got to put it beau, so the adjective before the word, so cadeau here, gift. And then cadeau is masculine, so we should put the beau form that we saw previously. In the second example here, voici un bel homme. So you could ask me the question, why do you put this belle form instead of beau? Because homme, well, it's masculine, yes. The reason is that it starts with the sound O, because if you remember carefully, H is not pronounced, so H doesn't exist phonetically. And then, for aesthetical reasons, of course,
we tend to think that if we would have this beau here and then homme, we would get this sentence. Voici un beau homme. Doesn't sound nice, so we've got to put this belle form here instead of beau. Okay, so it does mean that for all the situation when you will have a word starting whether with a vowel or H and the vowel, so the H is not pronounced, you will have to put this belle form instead of beau. Okay, remember you pronounce it belle, so like the feminine version, but then you write it B-E-L. Okay, voici un bel homme, here is a beautiful man, voici un bel homme. Okay, so now you can see the feminine form. In that case, it's quite simple because it doesn't change at all. C'est une belle table. It's a beautiful table. C'est une belle table. Okay, and then, quelle belle femme. Quelle belle femme. What a beautiful lady. Plural form. Okay. In that case, you get to remember that you will have to put this de preposition here before. Okay. Ils ont de beaux enfants. Okay. And if you want to be purist, then you should put the little liaison here, the little link between the two. Ils ont de beaux enfants. Ils ont, here you've got this link as well. Ils ont de beaux enfants. Okay, so voici de belles promesses. Voici de belles promesses. Same thing if you want to use nouveau. Okay, you will have two versions for the masculine form. So you will have nouveau and then nouvelle. So remember, if you have words, like in that case, ordinateur, masculine words starting with a vowel or the sound of a vowel. Okay? Example here, voici le nouveau chef. Okay, in that case, chef, masculine, doesn't start with the sound of a vowel, so you just put the normal nouveau adjective. Voici le nouveau chef. In the second sentence here, you've got ordinateur. Okay, remember, it starts with O, so the sound of a vowel. J'aime mon nouvel ordinateur. Nouvelle, phonetically you pronounce it like the feminine version, but then you write it N-O-U-V-E-L. Okay, we'll see, this is the feminine version, so it goes like double L-E. Okay, phonetically it is the same, but you write it differently. For the feminine version it's quite easy because it doesn't change. Elle a acheté une nouvelle voiture. Elle a acheté une nouvelle voiture. C'est la nouvelle copine de mon frère. C'est la nouvelle copine de mon frère. And then for the plural form, encore de nouveaux problèmes. Encore de nouveaux problèmes. Ils veulent de nouvelles explications. Same thing here, if you want to make the little liaison. Ils veulent de nouvelles explications. Alright, remember it was exactly the same thing. You've got to put this de and you don't put des. Okay, but you put de in both of the cases if it's for the plural form. Whether masculine or feminine, you don't put des, but you put de. Okay? So let's see now vieux. So vieux behaves like the two previous adjectives we saw. So you will have one version for the masculine form, or two versions, sorry, for the masculine form. So this one, the official way. And then the second one for the verbs or for the words who are starting with a sound of a vowel, like here, arbre. Okay, so for normal word, so like chien here, dog, so you don't have the sound of a vowel at the beginning. So il a un vieux chien.
okay? And here, c'est un vieil arbre. C'est un vieil arbre. Feminine form, vieille, okay? J'ai une très vieille voiture. J'ai une très vieille voiture. C'est une vieille table. C'est une vieille table. And then for the plural form, voici de vieux journaux. So same rule, remember, if you want to put this des, you shouldn't put des but de instead. Okay, voici de vieux journaux. Okay, when you put the article les, it doesn't change and it's not a problem. J'aime les vieilles maisons. J'aime les vieilles maisons. All right. In this lesson, we'll try to see together, well, les questions, the questions, the way to ask things, and especially I would like to see or to show you the difference between, well, what we could call conversation courante, so the two options, and then the last one, it would be the langue officielle or the written way you could, well, produce these questions. So, as in many languages, we've got a difference between what you can produce orally and what you will have to write, okay? So, if we tend to think that the last option would be the formal or the official way to ask a question, and then the two first options would be less formal, so the way you could ask questions if you're talking to friends, colleagues, or persons you are connected to. Okay, so let's start with the first example. So the first one, if you want to know, well, the name of who is the teacher of someone, okay. So the first option would be ton prof, c'est qui? Second option, so you can see that it's a bit longer, so we tend to use this qui est-ce qui, you know, this est-ce qui that we tend to add, especially at the oral form, okay? Qui est ton prof? All right. So the important thing here for the oral and the less formal questions is that you will have to raise your voice at the end. So clearly it should go like do 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 do, and then at the end, hop, you raise a little bit your voice. Okay. Ton prof, c'est qui? All right. You can hear ton prof, c'est qui? Qui est ton prof? Qui est ton prof? And the official or the formal way, and it's, well, basically it's not that difficult or that long, okay? But then normally, if you want to ask a question correctly, the official way, it should go like you start with the question. So qui, okay? Who? And then verb est ton prof. Qui est ton prof? Qui est ton prof? Okay, first one. Ton prof, c'est qui? Qui est ton prof? Qui est ton prof? All right. Let's see another one. So if you want to ask where someone is living, il habite où? So technically you just put the words in the normal order. So il, he, habite, lives, où, where. So in that case, you will have to raise your voice as well. Il habite où? Il habite où? Second option, you will have to add, as we had previously, this est-ce, okay? Où est-ce qu'il habite? Où est-ce qu'il habite? Okay, first one. Il habite où? Où est-ce qu'il habite? And the last one, the official one. So we start with où, where, then we put the verb, okay? Here, habiter, to live, and then after that we put the subject, il, okay? And as we've got here a vowel and here a vowel, we will have to add this T letter and then trait d'union or tiret, ir, okay? So you've got this où habite-t-il? Où habite-t-il? Okay, this is the more formal one. First one, il habite où? Second one,
Où est-ce qu'il habite? Last one. Où habite-t-il? Alright, so let's see another one. So if you want to know what someone is doing in the evening, tu fais quoi? So you do, and then quoi? What? Ce soir, this evening. Tu fais quoi ce soir? Okay, remember, you've got to raise your voice. Tu fais quoi ce soir? Again, tu fais quoi ce soir? Second option, we will have to add this est-ce que, as we did previously. Okay, qu'est-ce que tu fais ce soir? Qu'est-ce que tu fais ce soir? Qu'est-ce que tu fais ce soir? All right, and the last one. As usual, you know, we start with the que, what. Then we've got the verb, fait, so to do. Then you've got the subject, tu. Ce soir, this evening. Que fais-tu ce soir? Que fais-tu ce soir? Okay, so let's see them one more time. The two less formal. Tu fais quoi ce soir? Qu'est-ce que tu fais ce soir? Que fais-tu ce soir? And now if you want, well, to know the profession of two persons, in that case there are ladies or girls, okay? Elles font quoi comme métier? So métier is profession, as a profession. Elles font quoi? Remember, faire is to do, okay? Elles font quoi comme métier? Second option, sorry. Qu'est-ce qu'elles font comme métier? So we add this esque one more time here for the second informal way of asking a question. Qu'est-ce qu'elles font comme métier? And then the more formal one, we start with the question. So, quelle? In that case, we put the masculine form because métier, profession, is a masculine word. Okay, so, quelle est, what is, their métier, profession. Quel est leur métier? What is their profession? Quel est leur métier? Okay, so the less formal, elles font quoi comme métier? Second one, qu'est-ce qu'elles font comme métier? And the last one, quel est leur métier? So if you want the name of someone, remember that we use this s'appeler verb. Okay, so it's a reflexive verb, so that's the reason why you've got this vous. Okay, so the first way of asking the name of a person, well, you use this vous, okay, because it's the polite form anyway, because you don't know the person, so definitely you should use this vous, but then of course you can use this informal way of asking the name of a person. In that case, you just keep the normal order of the vous appelez. So you call yourself, and then comment, how. Alright? Vous vous appelez comment? Remember, as usual, raise a little bit your voice at the end, okay? Vous vous appelez comment? Vous vous appelez comment? Alright? Second option, and well, you can see now, because we've been seeing a few examples before, you can see that the second option with this est-ce que, okay, well, it's informal in a way, but then it can be quite heavy for beginners to produce, because you've got to use this est-ce que form. So normally it's quite important to recognize it and then know that it's possible. If you want to use it, well, it's an option. If you don't want to use it and then you want to use a less formal way of asking a question, I would advise you to use the first one. Okay, but then it's possible. So, comment est-ce que vous vous appelez? Comment est-ce que vous vous appelez? Comment est-ce que vous vous appelez? Okay, and then the last one. So the last one, the more formal one, as usually we start with the question, comment, how, okay? And then here you can see that you will have this vous and then you will have the verb, appeler, and then you will have the vous here. So it's a bit tricky at the beginning, but then just try to remember that, because it will be always the same way to produce or to create a question when you will have these impersonal verbs. Okay? Comment vous appelez-vous? Comment vous appelez-vous? Okay, first one. Vous vous appelez comment? Second one. Comment est-ce que vous vous appelez? Last one. Comment vous appelez-vous? Okay? The passé composé form of the verb avoir. Avoir is to have, so it's quite important. So let's discover it together. First form is j'ai eu. Okay? Remember the difficulty with avoir at the past form. So first, remember that we saw in the previous lesson how to construct this passé composé form. So you've got to use whether avoir or être here. In that case, it's avoir at the present form. And then the second part, it's what we call the participe passé. Okay? And then, of course, for avoir, it's a bit tricky. You write it like that, eu, but then phonetically, what you will have to pronounce is u. Okay? So you get j'ai eu. All right? J'ai eu. Tu as eu. Il a eu, masculine form. Il a eu, feminine form. Elle a eu. So here, let's make the little liaison, the little link between everything. Nous avons eu. Nous avons eu. Vous avez eu. Vous avez eu. Ils ont eu. Elles ont eu. Okay, so let's see them one more time. J'ai eu. Tu as eu. Il a eu. Feminine form. Elle a eu. Nous avons eu. Vous avez eu. Ils ont eu. Elles ont eu. Le passé composé, and especially the form for être, the verb être. Être is to be, remember. So we saw previously how to construct this passé composé form, okay? So I won't explain that again. If you don't know how to make it, then check the previous lessons, because you can find the passé composé lesson, okay? So we'll only focus on this form of être. Être is to be, okay? And the first form is j'ai été. J'ai été. Tu as été. Tu as été. So masculine form here. Il a été. Feminine form. Elle a été. And then here, we'll make some liaison. Nous avons été. Nous avons été. Vous avez été. Vous avez été. Ils ont été. Okay, so you make the little liaison here as well, between the on and été with the t. Ont été. Ils ont été. Elles ont été. Alright? So one thing that really you should remember is that even if it's être to be, then you will have to construct it with avoir. Okay? So, j'ai été, tu as été, il a été, elle a été, nous avons été, vous avez été, ils ont été, elles ont été. We will discover together the passé composé form of the verb aller. Aller is to go. Okay, and remember that aller is one of the tricky verbs in at the passé composé form, because it will use être and not avoir as most of the verbs. Okay, so that's the reason why here you will have the form je suis allé. Okay, and then you can make the liaison here. Je suis allé. Je suis allé. Tu es allé. Tu es allé. Il est allé. Il est allé. You've got this little liaison between the two. Il est allé. Feminine form. Elle est allée. Okay, so have a look here. Remember, if you don't know that already, then I would advise you to check the lesson on the passé composé that we did previously. Okay, so you've got to add this feminine mark at the end of your participe passé here, just because elle is feminine, and then you're using this être verb to construct the passé composé. That's the reason why. Phonetically, it doesn't exist. You don't pronounce it, so you get elle est allée, and then for the masculine form, il est allé. So aller is pronounced the same way, but still you have to write it. Okay. Same thing that if you get to put the plural form, then you will have to add this s mark of the plural at the end of your participe passé form here. Okay. Nous sommes allés. You don't pronounce it. Okay, but you write it. Nous sommes allés. Vous êtes allés. Vous êtes allés. Same thing here. You put it, but you don't pronounce it. And then here, masculine form. Ils sont allés. So masculine plural. You put this S. Ils sont allés. Little liaison between the two. Ils sont allés. Elles sont allées. Feminine and plural here. Okay, S, you don't pronounce them, but still you've got to write them. And then this little liaison here. Elles sont allées. Okay, so let me repeat the whole thing for you. Je suis allé. Tu es allé. Il est allé. Elle est allée. Nous sommes allés. Vous êtes allés. Ils sont allés. Elles sont allées. The passé composé form of the verb parler. Parler is to speak or to talk. Okay, so let's discover it right now. First person, j'ai parlé. Tu as parlé. Il a parlé. Elle a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. Ils ont parlé. Elles ont parlé. Alright? So remember, passé composé, you've got to use two parts. The first one, avoir in that case, and then what we call participe passé. This participe passé form, as you can see, doesn't change for all the persons. You will have to put avoir at the present tense here. Okay? J'ai parlé. Tu as parlé. Il a parlé. Feminine form, elle a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Little liaison here. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. Same thing here. Little liaison. Ils ont parlé. Same thing here. Ils ont. Elles ont parlé. Okay, so we'll just see one more time the passé composé form of finir. Finir is to finish or to end. Okay, and let's see how it goes. J'ai fini. J'ai fini. Tu as fini. Tu as fini. Il a fini. Feminine form, elle a fini. Nous avons fini. Nous avons fini. Vous avez fini. Vous avez fini. Ils ont fini. Elles ont fini. Okay, so let's see them one more time. Remember, as we saw previously, you've got avoir here, and then you've got fini. So this participe passé form, the second form that you've got to add to construct the passé composé, and fini doesn't change. It's here all the time, and it's written the same way. Okay, j'ai fini. Tu as fini. Il a fini. Elle a fini. Nous avons fini. Vous avez fini. Ils ont fini. Elles ont fini. Les unités de mesure. Okay, so let's start. 1 millimètre. les millimètres. Un centimètre. Les centimètres. Un mètre. Les mètres. Un kilomètre. Les kilomètres. Un mètre carré. Les mètres carrés. Un litre. Les litres. Un gramme. Les grammes. Un kilo. Un kilogramme. Les kilos. Les kilogrammes. Les faux amis, so they look the same in English and in French, but then the meaning is different. Okay, so let's start now. And then the first one, it will be travailler. Travailler. Okay, remember when you get this I and then double L like that and a vowel. I. Travailler. Okay, travailler, and it means to work. Okay. Sympathique. Remember the H is not pronounced. Sympathique. Okay, and it means friendly, nice. Then rester. Rester. Regular verb from the first group, easy to conjugate. Rester, okay, and it means to stay, to remain. Then la monnaie. Monnaie, okay, final not pronounced. La monnaie, okay, and it means small change. Le magasin. Le magasin. Okay, remember you've got only one S between two vowels. Then you get the sound Z, alright? And then the ending here is IN, so it's nasal, it goes in your nose, and it's un. Magasin. Okay? And it's shop. Alright? Then, la librairie. Okay, remember, I here, librairie. Final not pronounced. La librairie. Okay, and it's a bookshop. Then, la journée. La journée. Final not pronounced. And it's day. Grand. Final day not pronounced. Okay, G-R, gr, gr, gr. And then the nasal en, grand. Okay, and it means big or tall. Then, gentil. So remember this final L is not pronounced. Gentil. Gentil. And it's nice or kind. Then, attendre. Attendre. Remember, final you don't insist on it, it just gives you the possibility to pronounce the dr, dr. Okay, so attendre, attendre. Alright, and it's to wait. Bonjour à tous and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 5, leçon N. And in this lesson, we'll discover vocabulary regarding le corps humain. Le corps humain. So let's start now. La tête. La tête. L'épaule. L'épaule. Okay, so in that case I did put this F here just to indicate you that it's feminine, okay, because you cannot see it here with the article L, okay? L'épaule. La poitrine. La poitrine. Le tronc. Le tronc, okay, remember, final C is not pronounced here. Le tronc, okay? L'estomac. L'estomac, okay, same thing here, final C not pronounced, and then M means that this word, estomac, is masculine, okay? L'estomac. La hanche. La hanche. Remember, H here is not pronounced, so you get the sound en, hanche at the beginning. Le poignet. le poignet. So this combination of ET at the end will basically open the sound. So you get poignet. Okay, remember, G-N, poignet, le poignet. La cuisse, la cuisse, double S, and then two vowels before and after. It will give you a really strong S sound, okay? Cuisse, cuisse, la cuisse. Le genou, le genou. La jambe, la jambe. Okay, remember, A-M, when you combine these two, basically it's just like A-N, so it's nasal and it's en. Okay, so you get la jambe. La cheville, la cheville. Remember, double L like that after I, cheville. Le pied, le pied. Le dos, final S not pronounced, okay? Le dos. Le cou, le cou. Le bras, same thing here, final S not pronounced, le bras. Le coude, le coude. So it's actually quite funny because the only difference between these two is this d at the end. Okay, so here in this one you've got le cou, okay, and then the second one here is le coude. Okay, remember you don't insist on this final e, it only gives you the sound of d at the end. Le coude, okay. Le nombril, le nombril. Le doigt de pied, le doigt de pied. La main, la main. So this combination A-I-N is quite interesting because it will give you the sound un. So it's really a nasal, it goes in your nose, okay? And it's un, main, la main. Le doigt, le doigt. Okay, so don't be frightened by this G because basically you don't pronounce it and then the final T you don't pronounce it. So the only thing you get to pronounce is this combination of three letters, sorry, here, D, O, I, okay? O, I, it's wa and then D, doigt. That's the only thing. Doigt, le doigt, okay? Le pouce, le pouce. L'ongle, l'ongle, okay, I forgot to write it, but it's masculine, okay, l'ongle. La peau, okay, remember this combination of three vowels, well, it's quite rare in France, but then, well, you can see it, but then, so the sound that you will have to pronounce when you've got these three vowels combined together, it's the sound O. Okay, so really simple, O, okay, so you get la peau, okay, la peau. That's it. If you want more, then the address is here, youtube.com/imagier, and then the website is here. If you want to see more material, then write me a beautiful letter or a mail. Okay, have a great day, bye-bye.